for you there.
At 6 o'clock, I'd like to bring the finance committee meeting to order. All right, we're good. Go ahead.
I'll do the same, I'll bring select board to order at 6 o'clock, 6:01. We have a full board, Leah is on Zoom right now, but she's on her way in, so she'll be here in person shortly. So we are here today to review the warrant and go through, ask any last questions. We do have Heather on Zoom here this evening, she's not in person. But to go through all the articles, any last questions, and to vote recommendations this evening. Anybody have any questions before we dive in? All right, I'll start with Article 1. Article 1 is just our voting to hear annual reports of town officers and committees. Any questions, concerns, comments? What did we do last time? Separate board
Yep, you guys voted then.
and then you do, okay.
Yes.
Any concerns from the select board?
Motion to recommend, is that what we want?
Yes.
Motion to recommend?
Favorable recommendation?
Yes.
Don't you have to place it first?
Didn't we place it already? Oh, we placed it in town one.
Heather?
Yes?
Leah, sorry.
No, go ahead, Leah.
I was gonna say, I don't think we've placed them at all. It's just a draft warrant, that we had, and so we can, I don't think that we ever voted to place anything.
I don't either.
Okay, separate motions?
Yes.
It's Leah again. It's up to you, however you want. You can do it. The select board making recommendations is a fairly new, process, and it kind of has varied by the boards. So, it's really, I guess, up to you. I'm walking in, sorry.
You could do,
Thanks,
we
Leah.
could do both at the same time. You could place and,
And recommend,
yep,
okay.
if you wanted, I think.
The only problem with that is if somebody who was okay with placing but didn't wanna recommend, I don't know.
Yeah, we could split
I
up
mean, they could
those.
always,
Why don't we just keep them separate, just to keep it,
combine it just for time's sake, and then if somebody wants to separate it, they can
we
separate it.
can do that for that one, okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to place, Article 1 and vote a favorable recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, roll call, Paul?
Mattson, aye. Second, aye.
Vote aye.
White eye? Ledger eye.
Good timing.
It's perfect timing. On Article, 1, do we have a recommendation from the finance committee?
Make a recommendation to vote favorably on Article 1.
I'll
Yeah.
second.
Okay. We have nobody on Zoom, so all, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, favorable. Okay,
All right, Article 2, to see if the town will vote to transfer a sum of money from available water and sewer retained earnings for FY 26 to fund emergency repairs on 2 sewer pump stations, or take any action in relation thereto.
So at this point, we're looking to, we have about $30,000 that we're anticipating putting towards this article in retained earnings. I don't have that as an exact figure, but that's where we're sitting right now.
Heather, that will cover the entire sum?
That would be the that would cover the entire emergency, the amount of money that we would want to put into this article to cover those emergency services, yes.
Okay. But we don't have that final figure, so we're looking to keep this wording? for the article?
Correct. The exact appropriation will be in the motion. But I just wanted to give you kind of a approximate. It's, you know, we're in the ballpark of $30,000.
Thank you. Are there any concerns, comments with the article amount or placement?
Motion to place and vote favorable recommendation on Article 2.
Second.
Any discussion from the select board? All right, roll call, Paul?
Mattson, aye. Second, aye.
I'll entertain a motion, from the finance committee for Article 2.
I will make a motion on Article 2 to vote favorably.
Second.
Do we have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on.
Article 3, to see if the town will vote to set the salaries or compensation of elected town officers for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, in such sums set forth below, totaling $96,168.28 in accordance with Chapter 41, Section 108 of the General Laws as amended. Any conversation or concern with the content or placement?
Motion to place Article 3 in vote favorable action.
Motion is
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Can I just, is that extra line in there for a reason in the graph, just for the final, can we remove that extra?
Oh, the space one?
Yeah.
Heather, was that intentional?
It was not.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other conversation? All right, Paul?
Mattson, aye. Second, aye.
All right,
Ledger, aye. Thank you.
I would entertain a motion for Article 3.
I make a motion that we favorably recommend Article 3.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion from the group?
How do we know if the override doesn't pass, what they'll be paid?
I'm so glad you asked that, Karen, because I've been sitting here wondering if I should interrupt the flow of the conversation to say that I asked council the same question. Under the heading that you learn something new every time, Article 3 simply sets the salaries, but Article 4 will appropriate the salaries. So we can handle the override potential reductions under Article 4 in that motion. This is just simply setting the salaries in the event that the override is successful. This is what they would be, but it does not appropriate any funds in Article 3.
Okay. Do we have any more discussion on Article 3? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
All right, Article 4. Go ahead, Heather.
I was just going to say that in the explanation for Article 3, it states that the amounts are appropriated in Article 4. That's in addition to the explanation, just to make sure that we're all clear that there's no appropriation for Article 3. Sorry.
Thank you. Article 4 is our main budget article to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $11,675,498.43 to defray the expenses of municipal departments for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026, provided however that the total amount appropriated hereunder The appropriation of $3 million shall be expressly contingent upon passage by the voters at an election of a Proposition 2.5 so-called override question allowing the town to raise by taxation the sum of money in excess of the limit established by Proposition 2.5 pursuant to MGL Chapter 59, Section 21C G. Are there any questions, comments related to the article or placement?
I don't see anything there. I make a motion to place on the warrant Article 4.
Second.
Did you wanna do a recommendation as well, Harry, or separate?
Yeah, and recommend that the board vote favorable.
Amend the second. Paul?
Yeah, I second.
A second, okay, so we have a motion to place and make a favorable recommendation and a second, any further discussion? All right, Paul?
Matt's and I. Second, aye.
Vote aye.
Ledger, aye.
Okay, I would entertain a motion for Article 4 from someone on the Finance Committee, please. All right, to keep it rolling, I'll make a motion to vote favorably on Article 4. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded to vote favorably on Article 4. Do we have any discussion on Article 4?
I may have missed it with all going on, but where is what happens if the override doesn't pass election or the meeting, I mean, not the meeting, but the election? There's nothing in here that I see about a cut budget. So we would have to come back to town meeting?
No, if I may.
Okay,
Right?
So the way that town council has explained this is that should the $3 million not be approved at the ballot on the 11th, then the additional $3 million that is being approved through this article would not be available to the town to raise and appropriate. So in the motion document, there will be a budget that has the override budget amount at $11,675,498, and then there would be the cut budget. We talked about how to make sure that we're including the appropriation of free cash and what the actual cuts will be. So the a reduced version of that master budget will be included as part of this motion.
So,
And so that the residents realize that there's the budget that's being moved with this article, which includes a $3 million override. Should that fail at the ballot, then that $3 million is not available to raise and appropriate, and that we would be using the reduced budget, the balanced budget,
and
if you would.
Heather, do we have an estimate of what we would use from free cash to make up some of that?
Yeah, I believe I included that in your email. It's about $857,000.
And the potential of another 120 in November.
What is the other 120?
You said there's a potential of another 120 in the fall if the cut budget goes through and the cuts aren't made to the school budget.
Yes, thank you, Karen. Yes, should we be not successful in the reduced budget, or should the school committee not be successful in reducing the assessments, and should the town through the regional dispatch the regional dispatch district not be successful in getting the additional grant funds, there is a combined total of 120,000 liability, correct?
And in the paperwork that we're gonna pass out would let everybody know that?
Yes, the motion will be very clear what you're voting on as far as a reduced budget or cut budget.
And I may have missed it in your explanation, but in that motion will be authorization to spend free cash to that 857 million, thousand?
Correct. I will find the email here from town council that specifically confirms.
Usually these motions have the details of where the money's coming from
It's just the
And-
article information.
to make up the total amount,
So
number one.
The-
And number two, I would think there should be a reference in here to some piece of paper that tie, just what you're saying, that ties that number to a document that you can look at and say, yeah, that's what I'm voting on, the total amount. And it's these numbers that we're agreeing to.
So Tommy, what you're looking at is the article, not the motion.
I understand that.
Okay, thank you.
I've done these a number of times. I understand that.
Right, so I think you just stated that you were looking at the motions, but anyway, so from town council, in my opinion, that will be addressed in the motion because Article 4 seeks a vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the budget amount. Although DOR will default to the raising up by taxation if an article is worded and the motion does not specify further funding source. Best practice is to have the motion specify how the budget amount will be funded to avoid any potential confusion, even if it is the intent for it to be fully funded through taxation. The free cash transfer for the part of the budget is a transfer from available funds and thus within the scope of the article as drafted. Because that was my very specific question, was how do I make sure that when if the override is not successful at the polls, how do I make sure that I can still apply the necessary free cash to that balanced budget? And that was my response.
What day did you send that email, just so I can follow that as we go along?
I don't believe that was an email between town council and myself. I did not forward that.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to make sure. So my question to town council was, as this article moves forward, and we have not done the motions yet, but do I have to change this article in any way or fashion to make sure that I'm capturing that free cash component, knowing that the actual motion will include that balanced budget as well as the override budget. I wanted to make sure that there was if anything had to be changed in the article to account for that free cash appropriation. And town council has assured me that it does not, that this article is worded appropriately, and that the motion, to Tommy's point, will be very specific about what the two budget amounts are, both the level service budget and the cut budget, and that cut budget will have a transfer from available funds, which in this case is free cash, for the necessary amount.
This is the exact wording that's on the warrant from 2023 for the 2 million override.
Okay, but we didn't have an explanation of it in 2023 as well?
No, there's an explanation. It's just,
But is it, okay. All right. Do we have any other questions from the finance committee? Do we have a recommendation, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor? So say aye.
Aye.
I have another question, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, we have up until town meeting to vote favorably or unfavorably or take no action, correct?
That is
So we
correct.
don't have to make a
Till the-
decision tonight.
Right before the town meeting, when we have our little meeting, yes. What, all right, so let's have a little bit of discussion here. What would, please help me out, why would it be any different tonight than it would be at town meeting? Other than the fact that we don't know the exact numbers, other than being,
But you do know the exact numbers. You've been given the budget.
okay. So I guess my question to the finance committee members here present is, what was gonna change between now and the night of the annual town meeting that's gonna make it any different than it is right here?
Probably nothing.
How did you just, wow,
Phew.
good,
Yeah, oh, well,
with chopsticks.
oh,
Well, can I?
go ahead, Mr. Rochelle.
We don't, I mean, we know the numbers because if it passes, we got the 11 million. If it doesn't, it's 3 million less, right? So we know the numbers. The thing that my point is, there's not detail here to say where those numbers are showing up to what you're saying and what's gonna be cut. And Heather explained that's gonna be in the motion, so. Which a lot of times within a town. I would just like to further say, I mean, over the last several years, I know there's people that are, you're saying it was on this last year, but I can go back and I'm sure behind me can, the motions and the stuff that was done at the town meeting a number of years was much clearer and much more detailed, so that when you were sitting there voting on something, it was right there in front of you of what you were doing, so. And it's, over the years, it's gotten, these things have gotten condensed more and more.
I guess my question is everyone comfortable with what's being cut in the cut budget? And how the expenses are allocated in the cut budget?
I understand your concerns. As we are advisory, we are the checks and balances for the town as the finance committee. The selectmen, through the town administrator, have put together a budget. Whether we agree or disagree with the cuts we've made, we've had plenty of meetings, we've made recommendations, some things have happened, other things that maybe it's our role is to advise the taxpayers whether this is favorable or unfavorable and the direction we should go, and I don't think that we're gonna be able to. Right now, everything is etched in stone. Whether we agree with it or not, it's not our budget. We make a recommendation that we present it to the town at the town meeting, but it's not. We can say favorably or unfavorably at the town meeting, or we could say favorably or unfavorably now, but it's not our budget to, we can't, we've been through the hearings, we've made recommendations. I don't know that maybe there's money here or there that we don't necessarily agree where it's coming from, but it's not our budget. And as long as we feel that the town is, the executive part of the town government is acting in an honorable manner for the taxpayers, I don't know what else to say, guys. Though I don't necessarily, and I know there's people on this board that don't necessarily agree with where the cuts were made or how they were made or whatever, I don't know what else to do. So.
Well, right at this point, what you just said is correct. With this budget is being presented to us, and the town is kind of backed into a position where there's only X amount of dollars, even if there is the override. So, we don't have a lot of room to play to move things around. I think we had the draft of these warrant articles, which we briefly went over, and we're formally going over them tonight, so we know what's gonna be on with the selectmen, we know what's gonna be. So we have to go to our next meeting or two, and just what you said. I think, look at these and then decide what are we gonna say that we think should be different for the taxpayer, and we have to have it and be ready to present that to them at the town meeting. And I don't agree with every one of the, but we kind of, it's like the same as the last 2 or 3 years. We're kind of backed into the corner because there's only so much you can do.
So we have a motion made and seconded. We talked about it. I asked for a vote. I'm gonna re-ask, all those in favor of this Article 4, so say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay. On a vote of 3 to 2, we have passed this favorably. Okay, thank you. Article 5.
Article 5, to see if the town will vote to transfer a sum of money not to exceed $360,142 from the general stabilization fund to fund unemployment benefits for employees subject to layoff as a result of budgetary cuts or take any action in relation thereto. So this is essentially if the override does not go through, we will be appropriating money for all the unemployment liability that will be incurred with the loss of the employees. Are there any questions, concerns, comments regarding the content or placement?
I just have a, I'm sorry, I just
Okay.
have a question, or maybe, in the explanation, it's clear that it's if the budget override fails, but can we also state that if the budget override passes, that I assume that this money would not be utilized, and so can we explicitly state that also, just, so it's
Absolutely,
there, please?
absolutely, thank you.
Heather, I have a question. If
Sure.
this passes, we will transfer from the stabilization fund to the benefits fund. If it doesn't pass, even though this gets approved at town meeting, then there will be no transfer there to happen. In other words, the transfer won't happen regardless. If it doesn't pass, the transfer will happen, but if it does pass, the transfer won't happen. Because I don't want to see money going from here and then sitting in this pension, this benefits fund and not coming out of it for no reason. So just, if you clarify that for me?
Absolutely. So even if town meeting approves Article 4, we would still ask them to approve Article 5 because we don't know what's going to happen at the poll. If the override passes at the poll, then there would be no transfer from stabilization to the benefits fund.
Okay.
If it fails at the poll, if the override fails, we would only transfer what we need at the end of the fiscal year to cover any of the expenses for unemployment or benefits, which is why we have explicitly worded the warrant article to say not to exceed $360,000, because we are anticipating that we would hopefully not need all of it.
Okay.
So the short answer is we will only transfer if we need it, and we will only transfer what we need.
So why isn't that wording in this article that it won't be used only if the override fails? And exactly what you're saying.
That's what Leah brought
Well,
up.
it's in
We
the
just asked that.
explanation.
It says not to exceed.
Yeah.
but it's.
So the article is appropriately written, and I can certainly make the explanation a little bit more explicit that we will not use the money if the override is successful.
So the explanation says unemployment and personnel benefits.
Correct.
What personnel benefits?
If somebody has vacation that is due to them,
Okay, so this
or
will,
any of the,
this 360 will cover unemployment, any sick time payout, any vacation payout, any other,
Any
Correct.
benefits.
okay?
Well, I thought those were paid out if you retired. I thought that's what you were told a couple weeks ago.
Because it says unemployment benefits for employees. It doesn't say employee personnel benefits in the motion. It just says to fund unemployment benefits.
Correct.
so there is no motion, it is only an article.
Okay, article, I'm sorry, article. In the article, it says to fund unemployment benefits, not personnel benefits. One is mandated.
That's what it says.
I will clarify that with town council.
I read it as unemployment benefits, meaning, and for the employees that are impacted, whatever they're due unemployment wise, as well as the personnel
You're
benefit
not
side
saying
of things.
unemployment as unemployment, you're saying the broad, the broad.
The loss of job and everything that
That
is,
goes with it.
goes with it,
That's too
is
loosey
how I,
goosey.
Yeah.
I think.
Like I said, I'll absolutely clarify that with town council to make sure that it's understood within the article, that the article is appropriating $360,000 to cover all of the costs that we intended to. So by Monday, when the select board approves the warrant, I will have that clarification.
Do we have a rainy day fund?
Our stabilization
That's it.
fund.
General
Well,
stabilization.
no, I'm saying, employees who use the town's rainy day savings. And I think by reading that, the town assumes we have another pot of money somewhere. And it's not, if that's the same as the stabilization fund.
Yeah, that's true.
Should have the same word.
If she can certainly change the wording of that town stabilization fund.
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
And then I think Darren thinks that if we should know what it was, and then what that comes out of, and then what the,
Fund balance.
balance as we go.
Right.
I think that would be helpful, because there's gonna be someone in the crowd that's gonna ask that question on every one of these. Heather, is that easy enough to do? As you,
Of course it is, yeah.
I feel like the last meeting we did, at the end, there was a page of the different funds.
Fund balance.
and sometimes it was
How much
on this too.
Well, and just how much was used throughout all of these, and then how much would be left over, so.
I think if we did each article as we went, and then I think at the end you could do the total, because people are gonna ask, and we're gonna be doing this 52 times during the,
Well, the first time
29
somebody
times.
asks, you say reference to the end, it's all in there.
they're still gonna ask a question.
If you put it at each article though, it's just gonna add a lot of
Paper.
stuff to each. I don't know,
I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, that's all.
We can certainly put the balance in. I will change the terminology rainy day to stabilization.
Okay.
I think that for as long as I've been in municipal government, everybody has used the term, the rainy day fund, as a colloquialism for stabilization. But we can certainly change that to make it absolutely clear.
I think why you would not do a balance after every article is if one failed, the rest of the balances would no longer be accurate. So you wouldn't wanna do that.
Okay,
That makes sense.
The balance sheet's not gonna be accurate then either.
Well, like, you just, if you were to go the next one, it just, I don't think it would make sense to do after, I mean, realistically,
I would say what the balance is, like,
Ticket
before
counter
anything
going.
comes out, then what it would be
Okay.
if everything came
If
out,
everything
and then
came
if
out.
people are really interested,
They
then
can do
they
the
can
math
use it.
themselves.
Right, they can math it.
Perfect, that's a great,
that make-
that's, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, I'm just,
Yeah,
you know what's gonna come up, we
Yeah.
do it every time.
Yep. So I would make a motion to place Article 5, with the clarifications that Heather is going to get from, legal regarding the wording, and the select board recommend favorable action.
Motion, is there a second?
Second?
Any other discussion? Alright, roll call, Paul.
Matt's and I.
Second, aye.
Would I?
Ledger, aye.
I'd like to make, entertain a motion with the changes that we've just talked about. Anybody's up for that?
I just have one more question. So what was the rationale for using, the stabilization fund for this rather than like free cash?
Because you don't have $360,000 available in free cash. If the override fails, you don't have that balance available.
Cause we're gonna use it all,
On other stuff, but
right,
I mean,
No,
here's the.
on the,
Okay,
where else would you take it from, Tommy?
here's the argument constantly about not using free cash for other things, and this is where it should have been used.
But you're gonna be using it to balance your budget.
But, which, yep, that's what I'm getting at, okay. I understand, we're tight
yeah.
on cash, there's no question about that, I'm not,
So I think we could use the 360,000 from free cash, but then would have to cut an additional 360 from the budget because we wouldn't be able to use that free cash that we're putting in.
or you cut more people,
But
or, you know what I'm saying, you gotta get there one way or another.
Right.
How's it coming from somewhere?
Unfortunately, we're gonna take,
But it's gonna dig us into a deeper hole
Exactly.
next year.
it's not gonna help us.
No,
But wait,
We're all
and
gonna
we
be
did
there
put
anyway.
back, I believe at the fall town meeting with the free cash, this past fall town meeting, we did put back the money from stabilization that we took out at the annual town meeting last year, in addition to the 5% per the financial
Correct.
policies. So if, I would still argue if there's happens to be a windfall of free cash ever again, that we replace what we take out in addition to the 5%.
We've been pretty good at that,
Yeah, the 5% we've been good at, but
and didn't go putting it back in.
Yeah.
I think the winds are blowing outside, but not for this.
Understood. Do we have a motion from the finance committee?
I'll make a motion to, vote favorably on this.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded with the changes Lynn said
Yes.
that we talked
Thank you.
about. And, does anyone have any more discussion?
I know I'd prefer to wait to hear what council says about listing personnel benefits versus unemployment benefits. Because although one person's gonna look at it as unemployment benefits are everything, unemployment is very different than the other benefits that you accrue and that you have to pay out. It's very different. It's not an over-encompassing thing when you're terminating an employee.
well, right now, I mean, if we vote right at this moment, if that comes up in the next couple of weeks, we can always
Change it.
rescind that vote
Absolutely.
and change it if we need to.
Absolutely, we can do that right up to the last minute.
Right up to our meeting before the meeting, right?
So
Yes.
therefore, are we better off holding off voting until we know?
I think if we vote through this tonight, either favorably or unfavorably on every article, we'll move forward, and then we reserve the right as the finance committee to change our vote at the half an hour before the annual town meeting.
But then how does that look for the town? Are we better off having it, it'll be in writing, but we change our vote? You know what I mean? It'll be. So are we better off leaving that blank and adding to it than changing the vote?
we're gonna take heat no matter what we do, so, I mean, it's, you've been up there a couple times, it's not fun either way, so. And we've changed our mind or did different recommendations and people, you know, if people question us why we did this or did that, so if the majority votes this down, we can make a motion to delay, you can change your motion if you want to vote no action at this time. I'm just trying to guide it along, whatever everybody wants to do.
May I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Does it, this, if, and Heather, this might be a question for you. This is the sum that we as town are legally responsible for paying employees that we would have to let go, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So,
That is correct, and it's been calculated to the penny.
so this amount of money needs to come from somewhere if the override does not pass. And so is there concern that we aren't gonna pay that money out somewhere? I guess I'm confused what the
concern is unemployment is when an employee is terminated, you give them a form. It's a trifold form that says, here's how you apply for unemployment. That's something that you get through the state. It's legally something that every employee that's terminated gets. The personnel benefits is different, and I think that's the clarification that people need to understand. Some of it is unemployment that is mandated, and some of it is what we as a town have put in policies for vacation time, sick time, blah, 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 blah. I think that's the only clarification. By just saying unemployment benefits, to me, that means it's only what the state is going to charge us back, and that isn't the case.
I do agree with that. I think the townspeople would like to see we're paying X amount for vacation out. It's not just unemployment. That these if the override doesn't pass and there are layoffs, that it's costing us over and above the unemployment. That it's sick time and
So-
vacation.
Makes more sense to change the wording on the article to just say, instead of unemployment benefits, it's just owed employee benefits.
I think that my interpretation is that's all that I'm asking town council is to clarify the wording, whether or not to fund unemployment benefits and other personnel benefits. If there's a phrase that needs to be added to the article to further identify what that 360,000 is, that number is not going to change. And if there's an additional phrase that needs to be added to the article, then I will have town council certainly add that. I want to make sure that town council tells me what that wording is. And if he feels that it should be added and how it should be added, then it will be there for the select board's April 13th select board meeting. I mean, I'm not challenging the point that's being made is that the article needs to represent what that $360,000 is being used for. I guess I'm just confused as to what the additional ask is. What am I missing?
No, I'm okay with changing the phrase.
Right. Well, I think I'm certainly clear that that's something that I need to ask town council to clarify within that article language.
And just to clarify, because I'm keep asking myself if I heard it, the unemployment chargebacks from the state are in this figure as well as all of the accumulated time that the employee can take with them.
So I'll be, I have seen the spreadsheet. The treasurer collector who manages our payroll has met with each department head that has supervisory responsibility over the individuals who will either have hours that are reduced below the benefit package or the benefit eligibility rate, and or employees that will be laid off in totality. We have looked at that individual in their individual eligibility and status within the community to determine what exactly their unemployment liability is, as well as their benefit liability.
Thank you.
So it's a very, very detailed spreadsheet. And like I said, that number has been calculated to the nickel.
Do we have any more discussion on the finance committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? What-
Aye.
What's that? Excuse me?
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed?
Yay.
Motion carries.
They won't change the wording.
With the wording
We
change.
asked, with the wording change that we asked for. Okay,
I think this just, I'm just gonna make a comment. I think this just goes to show you that at some point, when we have money, we need to make sure we're accruing vacation and sick, so we don't run into this again. It adds to our liability.
And I take exception to the comment that we won't change the wording.
well, no, we didn't, who said that?
No,
I did.
no,
I did.
Okay.
no, that was just said.
I did. I own
I
it.
don't understand. I don't understand where that comes from. I have said that I acknowledge that there is
I
a
understand that.
discrepancy
But
between
once
the
this gets
article.
placed, things tend to, I'm not saying you, Heather, but once this gets placed, it'll just be easier to just keep going and we don't always go back.
Okay,
Well, I think that's unfair.
Okay? You have your opinion, I have mine.
moving right along.
Alright, Article 6, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $1,044,599 to defray the expenses of the Southern Worcester County Regional Vocational School Assessment for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, as set forth below. This is our school assessment for Bay Path. Are there any questions, concerns, comments regarding placement or recommendation?
I would move that the select board place Article 6 and recommend favorable action.
Second.
Any discussion? Alright, roll call. Paul?
Mattson, aye.
Second, aye.
I'm gonna,
Sorry, what I,
Ledger I. Thank you.
so used to going first.
Sorry.
Do we have I'd like to entertain a motion from the floor for Article 6.
I make a motion to vote favorably on Article 6.
Motion's been made to recommend favorable action on Article 6. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion made and second to have a favorable recommendation for Article 6. Does anybody have any questions regarding this?
I know I wasn't there to ask the question at one of the meetings, but why was this not made subject to the override? And I'm gonna have the same question on the next one.
I think it's because it's the minimum local,
No, I understand that, which it is, but I'm just, in general, the two education items are, what, 65% of our budget?
if I may, we talked about it at our select board meeting when we decided how to transmit the language for the override. And it was going to be, if we pulled out education, it would be 6 ballot questions instead of the 3, because each one would have to be funded by the year also. And there was robust conversation at the select board meeting as to what would be the most encompassing and straightforward for the voters. And it was decided to stick with
Okay.
the 3.
Okay, So why would there have to be two questions? Because it's,
Because one has to fund municipal and one has to fund education.
and who decided that?
The selectmen.
No, who, did the town council
Town,
had to be
I'm
clear?
sorry, town council. Town council stated that
you.
any articles that you're appropriating from taxation, so Article 4, Article 6, Article 7, those articles would have to have their own set of Proposition 2.5 ballot questions to fund them on the ballot.
Because I don't
So
remember
if you
that.
wanted to put, if you wanted to make Article 4 contingent, there's 3 questions, one for 27, one for 28, and one for 29. If you want to make Article 6 contingent, there's 3 questions, one for 27, one for 28, and one for 29. And if you want to make Article 7 contingent, there'd be 3 additional questions for 27, 28, and 29. So between the 3 articles, you would have 9 ballot questions.
I guess, I don't know that there's anything we can do with Article 6 anyways, because there's no discretionary money.
No, I understand that.
No.
And I agree with you. I'm not saying we should change it. I'm asking the question
I,
about why it's not
I,
part of that.
I'll go on record that I think it's very unfortunate the way, if we're gonna go down this trail right now, I think it's very unfortunate that we're gonna cut 14 people from the town and the schools are just gonna sail through without anything. Darren Ross just said that.
So,
And I think it's unfortunate, but this is the path, once again, that the selectmen have recommended and voted on, and I don't know that we can voice our opinion and we can do whatever we want, but our hands are tied.
So I have a question. I know we're on Article 6, but for Article 7, couldn't Article 7 be split into 2 questions and vote the discretionary separate from the minimum local? Why would that involve
We used to
multiple
have different
questions?
articles at times, we had different articles for each part of that. That was not, I agree with where you're going with this, but this is a path that, once again, we've been given.
Heather, I have a question. If we were to separate those out and use the discretionary as a separate article, would it matter if we turned it down and the rest of the towns didn't?
No,
Because it wouldn't be an issue, right?
nope,
No,
So,
doesn't matter.
we're still stuck with it if they.
Now, wait a minute, when you say what, if we turned it down?
if we voted down the discretionary piece,
I mean, this group?
no, I mean
No,
the
the
town,
town.
The
Oh,
town,
it would have no effect whatsoever if the other towns voted.
oh, that's correct.
That's what I'm saying,
That's
so,
happened in the past too.
yeah.
It's happened.
I
But
guess
we are looking
it
at
would break
least-
it out for the townspeople to see what we're being charged, even if it doesn't have an effect on it.
And we're giving the townspeople a chance to voice their opinion if they would like to do that. They may vote for it, and more than likely, these 2 articles are gonna get voted through, and
But couldn't they just vote the Article 7 down if they don't agree with?
I was
in
gonna say,
general?
if
They can.
any piece of it
Yeah,
fails.
wait,
then
whether
the school budget
it's
fails.
discretionary or not discretionary, they can just vote that down. We would still, even if they vote that down, we would still be required to pay the minimum local contribution anyway.
absolutely, unless another town,
No, I'm saying the minimum local contribution, we don't,
still
we
have to
wouldn't
pay
have a choice
Yes.
about that.
right? Well, if 2 towns vote it down, they have to go back to the drawing board, right from scratch.
right, if 2 towns, but if
No
they,
matter what happens, if it's only one, we're
But the-
paying the whole amount.
you're right, the discretionary is the only place we got to have
wiggle
Little bit
room?
of,
wiggle room, but
Can I bring us back just to Article 6, if I'm fine continuing the conversation if it's related to 7, but
all right,
just
so
would
we
like
had a
to make sure.
motion made and seconded on Article 6, to vote favorable action on it. Do we have any more discussion from the Finance Committee? All those in favor of Article 6, so say.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Me, Carol, me.
Okay, motion carries 4-1. Okay,
Article 7, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $18,808,703 to defray the expenses of the Wachusett Regional School District assessment for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, as set forth below. And this is for obviously the Wachusett assessment, and this is the number as it exists today in time. We don't have a final vote on any sort of assessment reduction as of today. Are there any questions, comments, concerns with the content, placement, or recommendation?
I would vote to place Article 7 on the warrant and recommend favorable action.
You have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I wish there was some way, if the budget doesn't pass, what Article 7 does, that we could somehow say, and I don't know if it's possible, that how many people will be laid off from Wachusett if the budget doesn't pass versus how many people will be laid off from Rutland if the budget doesn't pass.
No one's being laid off from Wachusett.
My,
Not accurate, because you actually asked them, they're laying off like 14 people, but they're hiring 11 more.
okay,
So,
Well,
so yes, technically they're laying off, because I think
Right.
you asked that question of Dr. Ryan.
so their budget has no, even if it's, they're laying off, has no effect compared to what we have to feel in this town, which I agree with Darren, is very unfortunate. Seriously flawed there.
I understand it's their turn. Can I make I'd like to ask a question, and I don't want to be rhetorical about this. I spent yesterday and today working on figures, and I'm wondering.
I would like them to vote,
Okay,
and then you
Okay,
will
thank
definitely
you.
have your chance.
Okay.
But to Harry's point, I mean, that can be said at the town meeting. That can be made that can,
Carol, if you have a
under
point
that
directly
article,
to
that can
Harry
be a statement
about
made.
that, Then
Yeah.
go ahead, but if not,
Absolutely.
we'll bring, cause I know what you got a good point, but if we're gonna, I think we should wait. But that, if you'd like to speak, you can, I'm not telling you
it's
not to.
okay, you can go.
Okay,
All right.
We have a motion and a second. Any other? Sorry, Harry, didn't mean to cut you off if you had
No, I'm fine.
any other. All right, I'll call Paul
Matt's and I.
Second, I.
Hold on.
and Ledger I. Thank you.
before we can discuss this, we need a motion and a second from the finance committee. Can I have a motion on Article 7, please? I will make a motion to vote favorable action on Article 7. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have time for discussion.
Looking at even with an override budget, I'm curious if anybody has looked at numbers on what we have left over per person to run this town. We all agree that the town budget, so the article, we need to raise and appropriate $11,804,000 and some more. If we have a population of 9,700 people, which I think is about accurate, per person, we're running this town on $1,217 per person. And that's why I look at the schools. Wachusett is costing $11,822 a student. Bay Path's $12,436 per student. And we're trying to run a town on $1,200 a person. And the town, and I'm not saying this, but the town always says yes to the school budget. And I know that the state has 83% of towns that are looking at an override. apparently in the last 5 years, 270 overrides have hit the ballots. I don't know how many have passed. But I think that we're doing a disservice to this town and to the state now if we don't start pushing back on the school, and therefore I can't move forward with this. Something has got to change. And I know that we brought up things like, can we figure out something to do with transportation? It costs more to send a student to Bay Path than Wachusett. We do a lot. Is there something that we could do with that? And proportionately, and I don't know, I haven't done digging, but if you look year over year right now, and I know that enrollment increases a bit, so things increase at Bay Path, but Bay Path is outpacing Wachusett in percentage. So my piece, Darren,
No,
I think I was shocked when I saw $1,200 per person.
What do you mean they're outpacing? What do you mean, Bay Path is outpacing?
The percentage of our budget
Increasing
is
percentage?
increasing by more than Wachusett,
Well, I do
percentage-wise.
I do agree with you, because they're funded more than Wachusett is. So if they're funded that much more, why are they going up that much more?
And
You're
I
talking
know
about
that
Bay
we,
Path?
yes,
Bay Path went up this year very specifically because of the health insurance. Their health insurance was insane of an increase, and not that I'm saying that that's, acceptable or that's, but it is, that's what the reason
and
is,
I always
right?
poke back a little bit at Bay Path because it's such a smaller amount than Wachusett. We go, okay, because it looks so much smaller, but it's 84 students versus 1,600 students. So I think they are equal footing as far as what we should be thinking about and doing, and
Bay Path had an increase in student numbers also this year.
and I understand.
I mean, it's some there, so
yes,
that's part of that number.
yes. But I think if you
In
just even
Wachusett, the
take,
last 2 or 3 years, our population
It's
at
decreasing.
Wachusett is not as much as other, but our population has gone down and the budget's still gone up.
I think just the startling, we try to run a whole town on $1,200, and just looking at, because I was looking at, I know that there's pushback, and I don't want to get into budget stuff. I'm just trying to. Never mind.
Well, I think it's a startling figure, you're not wrong, but I think it's a very uncomparable figure, and I say that because you're comparing very different things, right? And I know you know that. I'm not saying that you don't see that, right? But if you think about like the town's budget, a lot of the town's budget, a lot of the town services go towards a household, right? Not necessarily a person or how many people are in that household or the each individual, right? So like plowing, things like that, that's all based on how big the land of the town is, right? And how many households. It doesn't help an individual. You could say the same thing about like, about Parks and Recreation, right? Parks and Recreation is mainly geared towards children, so really adults who don't have children are not benefiting from that at all. So like the cost of that really only touches upon certain people. And et cetera, et cetera. There's so many examples of that. Whereas a school system, every single one of those students requires XYZ, all these things for every single one of those students. Some differ, right? You have special needs and you have some more intensive than others, but in general, it's just a more intensive cost. And I mean, it's always been like that, right? Maybe it's not as big of a percentage of an overall town budget going back, I don't know, but I would guess that it's always been a significant more cost than the individual cost of a town per person basis. So I think it's a startling number. I don't disagree, but I'm just not sure that it's ever going to be a comparison that has a lot of merit to really be able to compare and understand what that actually means. But I don't disagree that it's maybe the bigger problem here, and not to say this is the right way to go either, is that 1,200 per person in the town is too small. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I would guess that many of the town departments think they're underfunded, and they should probably get more. But we also don't want to pay more, right? So I don't know the answer to that.
I could kind of reply to that in terms of demographics, but then we get into a whole different ballgame in terms of the number of households that have increased tremendously with children compared to 20 years ago. And therefore, we're expecting those households who have been here for years to pick up the brunt or a lot of the cost of the households of the people who have just moved in with children.
Yep.
So you're getting a disparity of cost there because of that. And I don't know how you deal with it. I don't know how that can be resolved, but that's an issue I hear from a lot of people. So when we come down to Wachusett, yes, I agree with Carol, there's something that has to be done there. There's a lot of mandates that have come that we just can't afford, but we have to afford. And that's a state issue, and I keep coming back to that. If we don't like what the state's doing, then let's make sure we get people in there that help us know what they're doing. That's all. Because
all we
this
can
is
do.
really out of control, you know?
I agree with everything that's been said. I would just like to bring it back to the article that's in front of us.
Thank you.
But thank you, I appreciate, and I think everybody at this table shares the sentiments.
All right, does anyone else have any other discussion on Article 7? So we have a motion to vote favorably on Article 7, and we have a second on that. Take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
Okay. So that motion failed. Can we entertain a motion to take no action on this now so that it's not, and then we can decide on the town meeting floor the night of?
We just did.
So, but we voted no.
No, you voted no
Voted
on
no
a
to
favorable
favorable.
We
recommendation,
vote, okay, so we're good.
Yeah.
unless somebody has a different one.
We'll have to talk about it further at our next meeting.
Okay. I just wish that we would treat our,
If I may, could I ask Tamika to clarify what the warrant deadlines are as far as what gets printed and made available, just so that we're all clear on what the public will see based on the votes tonight? That this is my first time through this process in the town of Rutland, and I just want to make sure that I'm clear as to what the recommendations that are sort of publicly dispersed based on tonight's votes. Is that a fair question to ask?
yeah, absolutely.
Tamika, can you walk us through that quickly?
Don't
Hi
see-
Heather, can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
So typically how we've done it in the past is whatever recommendations are made at the joint meeting are what gets printed on the warrant and presented to the select board for their signature, which in this case would be Monday the 13th. So the version that's signed on Monday is the one that we would post publicly, which we have to post no later than April 24th. So in this case, if the finance committee decided to hold on their recommendation until the evening of town meeting, it just would not be publicly available on the printed warrant either between now or the one that's handed out at town meeting.
Wait, you made a
Thank you.
motion for a favorable recommendation.
Right.
And we voted no.
right, so that's it.
So that's it. We didn't say negative, we didn't say unfavorable, we just said not to a favorable motion, is all we said.
Yes. Understood, thank you for the clarification.
We did.
So-
So that leaves it open so we can, our next meeting, we can make a recommendation on the
This-
floor.
I don't think there'd be such,
Right?
Splitting hairs.
That means
What's that?
So there's no motion.
Oh, there's no
What?
motion.
I said you're splitting hairs.
well, it would be splitting hairs if the selectmen, it wouldn't be splitting hairs if the selectmen did the proper thing back last week when they voted this. Moving on to Article 8.
Well,
you guys wanna play
split hairs?
games, I'll show you what we're gonna play here. That you guys caused this problem.
Darren.
We're moving on to Article 8, go ahead.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from receipts and revenues of the water and sewer enterprise or from any other available funds the sum of $3,301,710 to operate the water and sewer department for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, as set forth below. And that the $3,301,710 will be raised as follows. So this is essentially just outlining our expenses for water and sewer.
Jen, if I may,
Sure.
Roger brought forward, town council brought forward that the town's previous warrant article structure was not meeting DOR best practices, whereas in your town meeting article, you were only appropriating expenses. You were not following up with the commitment for the revenues. So that's why you see a change in maybe the format that you're used to seeing. This is just a realignment to meet DOR best practices to show where the money is going and where the money is coming from as a enterprise fund should do. So thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Motion to place Article 8 and vote favorable action.
Second,
Second.
Harry can have it.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion on Article 8? Okay, roll call Paul.
Mattson, aye.
Second, aye.
Vote aye.
Woman, aye.
Ledger I. Thank you.
Do we have a motion on the floor for
I have
Article
a
8?
motion that we recommend favorable action on Article 8.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
Article 9, to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $175,000 from water and sewer retained earnings for the purchase, equipping, and installation of replacement water sewer meters, including all other incidental and related expenses. This is the article to fund phase 2 of the 4-year water meter replacement program, which we've talked about in past boards. And is supported by that $25 quarterly or $100 annual fee that is in the bills, water and sewer bills. Any questions on the content, concerns? I'll entertain a motion for placement and recommendation.
Motion to place Article 9 and recommend favorable action.
Second,
Any further discussion? All right, Paul,
Mattson, aye.
Second, aye.
Vote aye.
Ledger I.
Any can I have a motion on Article 9,
I
please?
make a motion that we recommend, have a favorable recommendation for Article 9.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Thank you.
Article 10, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from receipts and revenues of the stormwater enterprise or from any other available funds, the sum of $437,602 to operate the stormwater utility for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, as set forth below, and that $437,602 to be raised as follows. So similar structure to Article 8, just for our stormwater utility.
Motion to place Article 10 and vote favorable action.
second,
Heather, there's just a dollar sign missing in that first sum,
Oh, the
beginning of the
437.
article.
Thank you, Jen.
Any other discussion on the article?
Nope.
Okay, Paul,
Mattson, aye.
Second, aye.
Vote aye.
Ledger I. Thank you.
I'd like to entertain a motion for Article 10.
I make a motion, we, have a favorable recommendation for Article 10.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from receipts and revenues of the PEG Access and Cable Fund or from any other available funds, the sum of $129,220 to fund PEG Access and cable-related operations for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026. This is the funding, Heather, this is everything that comes into us, correct, from,
Yeah, we are anticipating a transfer in of $141,000 from Charter Spectrum, which is greater than the proposed appropriation for operational expenses of $129,220.
alright, and this just allows us to appropriate the money for that
It
department.
allows us, it allows us to appropriate it so that it can be expended. Correct.
Any questions, concerns on content? Otherwise, I'll entertain motion for placement and recommendation.
So moved.
With a favorable
April?
recommendation.
Yeah, sorry.
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? Alright, Paul,
That's an
Second, aye.
Hold on.
We're gonna
Ledger, aye.
Hey, Heather, on the
Yes?
revenue page, can you show me, can you direct me where I would find the PEG access income coming in?
Yeah, I can. It's in several locations.
Do an
If you
extra,
go to the master spreadsheet, the master page,
I was looking for the revenue.
yeah. If you go to the master at the very bottom, scroll all the way down, you will see cable offset.
Yep.
It would be line 242.
I see it there, but it's not on the revenue page. Because it comes in as revenue and gets paid out, correct?
Correct. Let me find it. Actually, no, because it's a transfer in, it doesn't count as a revenue.
so you're right, that's right.
It's a, yeah, so it's the 1% that's considered a transfer in, it's a pass-through.
Okay,
Oh, I see it on the revenue page.
it's at the bottom,
it's on the
under
bottom.
transfers and.
Right.
Okay,
Line 105.
Right,
okay,
but we don't, yeah, that's why it's sort of not considered a revenue, if you will, it's,
okay, thank you.
yep. And thank you, Lynn, for finding it fast.
We have a motion for Article 11.
I have a question first, please. So, in this article, these monies are coming from receipts and revenues to pay at, why would we need from any other available funds in there? Because this is where it comes from, and that's the only place it comes from, and that's the only place that it should come from. Why do we need those other words in there?
Because it's standard warrant language. It'd be exactly the same as you've worded your warrant articles in the past. The motion will be very specific.
I guess further on that concern is we're going, I'm afraid if something happens and PEG doesn't come in, we are voting to raise and appropriate.
Right?
So we're committing ourselves
Oh, I
to
didn't-
funds
Yeah, that shouldn't be there either.
that, yes,
No, so-
99% sure it's gonna come in, but if it doesn't come in, are we promising something that is going to come out of general?
So again, your motion will be very specific that it'll be a transfer.
And the motion will not include raise and appropriate or any other available funds.
Correct.
Yes.
I think it was there, like, because
Pretty cool they found that.
at one point, it was asked for some money for that closed caption thing, either last year or year before, and we recommended no on that, and It didn't happen as far as I know, so it was only PEG access funds that were used, so.
Right, that's correct.
So those shouldn't be in there, and I would recommend that we make sure that we tell them to, or say something to change that in the future. That doesn't need to be, I'll make a motion to recommend a favorable action on Article 11 with those changes. Or with the motion being done that way.
Do we have a,
And what were the changes, I'm sorry?
I don't think there are any.
There aren't any changes to it's all on the motion.
Yeah, we're not voting on motions tonight.
Right.
can I entertain a motion to vote favorably on Article 11?
Is that a motion? You need a second.
You need a second? I'll second it. Any other discussion? All those in favor to vote favorably on favorable action on Article 11?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? All good, thank you.
Article 12, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to enter into contracts for goods and services with duration in excess of 3 years pursuant to the provisions of MGL Chapter 30B, Section 12B, or take any action.
Move to.
Standard.
Yeah, I move to place Article 12 and vote favorable action.
Second.
Any discussion? Paul?
Matt's and I.
Second, aye.
Vote aye.
Wait a minute.
Ledger, aye.
I would take a recommendation on Article 12. A motion from the finance committee.
I make a motion to vote favorably on Article 12.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Article 13, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to apply for, accept, and expend any grants or donations from state or federal governments or private agencies, individuals, or institutions, or take any action in relation thereto.
Move to place Article 13 and vote favorable action.
Second here.
Any discussion? Paul?
Matt's and I.
Second, aye.
Vote aye.
Ledger, aye.
Can I have a recommendation on?
I make a motion that we give a favorable recommendation for on Article 13.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Article 14, to see if the town will vote to appropriate all funds which become available from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Highways in the fiscal year 2027 Chapter 90 bond issue proceeds or other grant program funds to be used by the Department of Public Works for repair and maintenance of town roads in conformance with MGL. And further, that the town vote to raise said appropriation by borrowing and to authorize the town treasurer with approval of the select board to issue bonds or notes of the town, therefore in anticipation of the receipt of said state aid or take any action.
Move to place Article 14 and vote favorable action.
Second.
Any discussion? Alright, Paul?
Matt's and I. Matt's and I.
Second, aye.
Vote aye.
Wait a minute.
Ledger, aye. Thank you.
I'll take
I make a motion that we provide a favorable recommendation for Article 14.
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Article 15, to see if the town will vote pursuant to the provisions of MGL Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half to establish fiscal year 2027 spending limits for certain of the revolving funds listed in Section 6 of the bylaw of the same name. All is set forth below, with such expenditure limits to be applicable for each fiscal year until such time as town meeting votes prior to July 1st in any year to change the expenditure limit for the ensuing fiscal year, provided however, that at the request of the entity authorized to expend such funds, the select board, with the approval of the finance committee, may increase such limit for that fiscal year only.
I move to place Article 15 and recommend favorable action.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Is $1,000 for animal control and zoning board of appeals historical? Just seems extremely low, but I don't know. if
Board of Appeals is brand new. I think last year.
Conservation is the one that's new. Animal control, there are no recommended increases. The Board of Health, there is a recommended increase. I believe that is a $20,000 increase for Board of Health. Conservation, again, this is the first time you're establishing a spending limit. No increase from Planning Board. Recreation is asking for an increase due to the spending that they may or may not need to be required to do for the cement, tile, and repair project. The school, the Safe Place program, there is no recommendation for an increase, and there's no increase for the zoning board.
Are we planning to have a balance of the revolving funds at the end of the warrant article or any of the documentation similar to the last meeting?
Absolutely.
Good. I just think it's a good idea to have for everyone to be very aware of what those are, and then the subtraction of whatever's used.
I think I think in providing the funds is, the balances is fine, but I think we need to also say that they're revolving funds, meaning that it's a snapshot of, and like recreation has a lot of money that comes in over the summer, so their fund may not have a whole lot in it currently, but they expend what they receive in, if that makes sense.
Yep.
We will do our best to adequately describe how a revolving fund manages itself so that the average resident can follow along.
I think putting a table with the current balances, anticipated income, anticipated or budgeted expenses total, and then anticipated ending would be showing and explain it well. I feel like that's what we had at the last.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Alright, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Paul?
Matt's and I.
Second, I.
And Ledger, aye.
Can I have
Make a
recommend-
motion that we recommend favorable on Article 14.
Second.
Let's get home.
Do we have a motion made in second, do we have any discussion?
So we're going to approve the increase for the pool, but what happens if the pool doesn't go through, then they're still gonna be able to spend the 400,000. Are we concerned about that?
What, the pool doesn't go through?
Recreation.
Pool doesn't go through what?
If it gets voted down not to allow it to happen, that still means they can spend 400,000.
Well, I had a question about Article 18, I think is related to directly what you're saying too, so what?
This is spending limits for their 53E and a half.
Right,
So we're increasing it by the money we wanna do for the pool. But if by chance that doesn't go through, they still have that extra $100,000 to spend.
That's another article coming up, right?
but they're not related,
No.
Karen. They're not, one is separate, so there's my question.
She said,
I-
Heather stated
That's not, I don't.
they've increased the spending for the 53E and a half for the recreation for the pool. Is that not what you said, Heather?
Yep, she did.
In case it doesn't go through.
Yeah, the increase is $50,000. So what they're asking is, so last year, their spending limit was $350,000. This year, they're asking for $50,000 more than that in the event that they have expenditure. So this doesn't authorize them to spend $400,000 of money that they don't have, right? This is a spending authorization, a cap
Yes.
within their own revolving funds. If they don't have the 400,000, you know, I'm not gonna say this correctly. They can't spend what they don't bring in. This just authorizes them to spend that amount of money within the current fiscal year.
So what is the balance in their revolving account? If possible, just to slide through this quickly.
Yeah, I don't have their, again, where their revolving funds are snapshots in time. I don't have that in front of me right now. I can certainly forward you those expense reports. This is a spending limit that they have requested an increase to from $350,000 to $400,000. But again, it's not an appropriation. You're not appropriating $400,000.
Article 18 is about
Doing
that,
it all.
as part of that.
I guess just,
This is not an appropriation. I think that's the important part of the conversation, is that it's a spending limit
That's a,
without appropriation.
I understand that.
yeah, so I guess maybe a little background, because the first iteration of this warrant we had, the recreation was gonna kick in 75,000 for some of the repair,
something like that.
and then free cash was going to pick up 100,000. But now, when we get to Article whatever,
18.
it's going to be for the whole amount. So why are we not asking
Let's
recreation?
have that.
So, but because we might want to change this $400,000. I mean, I guess that's
Well,
what I'm
this
saying.
is just it. My understanding of this, and correct me if I'm wrong, that this is just what they can spend, and they're asking for additional money for the 175.
Right.
So I think they're two separate things. Karen's shaking her head no.
No,
Well, I guess,
No,
because
they
what I'm
can't.
saying is if,
we set the spending limit here,
Correct.
so we can't, and the other one, and the one further down, that has to all be here, because otherwise you can't increase it. This is where it's at.
It isn't, because they're
Okay,
asking for
so-
free cash or
so-
whatever.
So I don't want to take the warrants, the articles out of order, because I really respect the process.
Understood.
And if you want to potentially come back to this article, or we can take the capital articles out of order. I can certainly comment. I can provide some background onto the thought process from the finance team for Articles 17 and 18 as they relate to this. But I can assure you that as a part of the proposal for Article 18, the rec revolving fund will have to spend at least $50,000 from their revolving fund to support that project. So
So the project is
strongly-
more than 175,000, Heather, is what you're saying?
there is definitely going to be engineering and procurement costs and potentially borrowing costs that would be associated with the proposal under Article 18 that would meet or exceed the $50,000 that they had originally proposed under their original article, under the original capital improvement plan recommendation. So I certainly support their annual fiscal spending limit increase ask. Again, it's not an appropriation. It is just an allowance to be able to spend up to that amount. and I believe that it will be necessary for them to have that increase. But again, I don't want to get out of order and jump ahead. I think the request is appropriate and I support it, and that's,
So we could skip
So-
over it for now and then come back to it later on after we talk about the rest of them? That's an
Do
option?
we, I'm not focused here. Did we have a recommendation on Article 15? We did not make a recommendation yet. We started with the question, so is,
Darren, if I may,
go ahead.
can you hear me?
Yep,
Yep.
go ahead.
Darren, if I may. There was a motion and a second made.
Okay, thank you. So now we're having discussion.
There was a motion and a second made.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. It's echoing, but I gotcha. All right. We have a motion made and second. Do we have any more discussion about Article 15 at this time?
No, but by the same token, if we go to the other one and we wanna go back, we can go back too.
Yeah.
Okay, so, okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Any opposed? Excuse me. Motion carries. Sorry for the.
Alright, Article 16, to see if the town will vote to transfer a sum from free cash to fund the deficit in the snow and ice removal account for the current fiscal year. Are there any changes to the April 1st figure?
yes, we're up to about $229,000 as of today's warrant. There is approximately $180,000 that we have earmarked within the current appropriations, within the existing DPW budget and the benefits and undistributed accounts that we could possibly put towards the snow and ice. I don't have an exact figure. I would recommend that for Monday that we move forward with this similar language, that we would vote to transfer a sum of money from free cash and reserve the final amount for your motion for town meeting.
That's good.
Any concerns from the board?
So, yeah, Heather, so you're saying
Yes?
we have 229,000 set aside?
No.
I'm sorry,
That's the
we have
balance.
180,000 set aside for the snow and ice. We're up to 229,000, so that means we have a deficit currently of about $49,000, give or take?
For this.
Give or take.
for this
Okay, so that's what we're looking for, somewhere around that.
Yeah, well, we have not finished all of I anticipate that we would have a few straggler invoices on the next warrant. I don't know how much those will amount to. I've asked the DPW director to give me that balance. He and his staff are working on that. Again, this is one of those numbers that will stay fluid, but I anticipate that we will be able to make up a significant amount through current appropriations. And yes, we would want to reserve the balance for free cash.
What is the balance in free cash?
Well, I guess it depends on how we do with Article 4. We're going into town meeting with 1,035,000 minus the potential liability of the $857,000. I expect that this is the only recommendation that I am putting forward for the use of any extra free cash, just simply because I'm not sure where else we would take it from. The other option is to carry it forward on our recap and take it out of next year's free cash. But I would just request that we keep the article on the warrant and that we continue to refine what the final request what that final appropriation will be as it gets closer.
Okay,
I move to place Article 16 and recommend favorable action from the select board.
Second.
Any discussion from the select board?
Mattson, aye.
Whitman, aye.
Oh, and I.
Harry, you still thinking?
I jumped to 17, sorry. Second, aye.
And Ledger, aye.
Don't
Thank
get ahead
you.
of us.
do we have a motion from the finance?
Make a motion that we recommend favorable on Article 16.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Heather, can I just ask one clarification? Sorry, Jen, if I may. Clearing that roughly 180,000 would be money that otherwise could potentially go to free cash next year, right? So it's in the budget now that, because we have open positions and everything, so that would be not going to free cash. So it's either we use it from this current year free cash, or it comes from,
Next year's free cash.
Yep.
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah,
It really does wash itself out in the calendar flip from June 30 to July 1.
Thank you.
Article 17, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $309,000 in the amounts and for the purposes shown below for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026 to purchase and equip capital equipment, buildings, facilities, and other projects, including as applicable site preparation, demolitions, and all other incidental and related expenses. So we have the chart below, which is several of the FY 27 capital budget items that were scored by CAPC.
And if I may. Sure. Heather, with the chart in here like this, it's adequate stating the funding sources from capital stabilization. We don't need to explicitly state it in the motion because we cover it through raise and appropriate or transfer.
Yes, when we do the motions, well, so I think as the motion is, as the article is written now, your motion would be clear as written in the warrant and as shown in the chart in the warrant. I'm not sure how you do your motion language, but yes, there would not be any additional language. And if I may, to Article 17 and to Article 18, I'll just speak very generally that I met with the finance team to talk through our best recommendation to fully fund the CIPC recommendations, understanding that it is ultimately the select board and finance committee's determination how to recommend that these appropriations move forward. This was these articles and the funding appropriation recommendations are how the internal finance team see as the best way to support CIPC's recommendations in order to make sure that everything is funded appropriately and responsibly. What we did is we separated the items that we thought had the longest lifespan and recommended those as a borrowing option, knowing that all of our debt is rolling off in fiscal year 2027, and that we will want to, for various reasons, including our bond rating, pick up some additional debt within the levy. So this was an opportunity to bundle some of the projects with a longer lifespan into a single borrowing item, that we would use bands, the State House notes, with a low interest rate. And then the remaining items, realizing that we don't have any free cash on hand to be able to expend on these projects, we are recommending that you use your available capital stabilization if these are projects that you want to move forward. That we would, instead of free cash, we would recommend that stabilization fund. So I think I'll leave it there. But that was the thought process between or behind why we split them up into the two categories. And then just really briefly on the resurface and retile town pool and repair concrete pool deck. We have asked our bond counsel to prepare what the borrowing would look like, what the repayment schedule would look like for that project for a 5-year and a 10-year note. And we would work with the rec department on what their contribution year over year would be towards paying that note back out of their revolving fund, rather than having that be a debt that is borne by the taxpayers. Whether that's an increase in pool fees, or if rec had to increase pool fees, that would be a potential opportunity for them to carry that part of the debt. And again, going back to what I said under the Article 15, because of the threshold of 175,000, MGL will require that there's engineering done on this particular project, which will have an additional cost beyond the 175. And we have acknowledged that rec will have to pay for that out of their revolving fund, as well as any additional procurement costs for putting it out to bid, and meeting all of the 30B thresholds. So they are fine with that, and understand that this is a way for them to not have to compete with things like dump truck bodies, brush chippers, and sand and salt spreaders, knowing that obviously snow and ice would potentially be prioritized over pool repairs. So this is a way to still move that project forward, that rec revolving would still bear the responsibility of the cost, just making sure that it gets done in a responsible and transparent manner. So I'll stop there.
Heather,
So back to Article 17.
Heather, for the two salt and sand spreaders for 32,000, I don't see that in CIPC's report. Do we know where that came from?
I thought I took it directly from their report.
Yeah.
They've got the two dump bodies, the front end loader, which is under the borrowing, the brush chipper, and then the tractor replacement.
Thought I saw that. Maybe.
But I don't see anything in here on the sanded salt spreaders in the plow that was rated, or that's actually even in here.
Okay. I don't know where I would have gotten it from, Jen, but certainly if it
We,
kind of at a loss. I'm not sure where I would have, why I would have added it if I didn't find it there, but I certainly, if that's not something that the select board or the finance committee supports, then we can remove it without any issues.
I just think we need clarification, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
don't
it's clarification.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wanna, if it hasn't
Well-
been rated by CIPC, I wouldn't be comfortable putting it on here.
Under that, word
Under,
to word,
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Fair enough.
Or are we holding off on this one until clarification on Monday? So
I would. That's you guys.
Well, can we talk about, so just so that I'm fully prepared to address any concerns that you might have about the use of capital stabilization?
Does anybody on the board have concerns with the proposed funding source?
No, Heather and I had discussed this. I think that's a smart move. It still leaves over $100,000 in there. And there's very little major equipment that you can buy with $400,000. So I think, given our stress situation for finances, this is the year that would be appropriate to use that. So I'm totally in support of that.
Anybody else have questions or concerns on 17?
That's what the fund is for. This is what it's for, exactly.
Just clarification if they've listed it and
Right?
it's what,
Yeah, I'm looking at the, I just can't imagine where I would have come up with it, but you're right, it's not in there, so. Clearly had a moment where I just wanted to buy some additional sand and salt spreaders.
Spreader, yep.
Not that they're not needed, Heather, they are needed, that's for sure.
So would you like a motion pending that clarificate to place and recommend favorable pending that clarification, or would you rather wait and hold off on this?
No, I think we can move forward with a motion that, if you're comfortable, removes the $32,000 for the 2 salt and sand spreaders and plow.
okay. She wants to take that right
Uh-huh.
now.
And I would reduce the appropriation by that 32,000, so you're,
It would be
Um,
277.
yes.
So then I would move to place
We don't
Article
wanna split hairs.
17, with the removal of the 2 sand, salt spreaders and plows at the $32,000 estimated expense.
I would have just said, let's do it.
Prior discussion and recommend favorable action by the select board.
I remember him backing down the hill,
Any further discussion on Article
scooping
17?
it up the back.
Yeah, sitting in that committee for years and understanding what they've been coming with, because we've been dealing with this for years, I have a hard time taking that out. I believe it's a necessary item. If it wasn't there, it should have been there.
But it's not even in the
It's
report.
not even in the report, that's my
But I
concern.
did see it on a
So-
report somewhere, and I know that's where she got it from. I just can't
Yeah,
remember
I
it.
think it was on the first warrant, draft warrant for using free cash.
Yeah, so let me, that's, so
I
Chris did
understand the
submit it.
technicality.
It did not, when they were separate, he submitted them as 2 separate requests because they did not meet the standard or the criteria for what you consider capital, which is $25,000 or a lifespan of
Mhm.
10 years or more, because they were 2 separate articles. And they did not meet the criteria, so they did not go in front of CIPC. It's kind of coming back to me now. So I had combined them to make them one request. But again, the reason that they were not on the report is because they would not be considered by your standard, by your financial policies, a capital request item because of the dollar amount.
So then I guess should I amend my motion and do it as presented? Would the board feel comfortable keeping that in if it was
Is it
So I
technically
guess
a
you
capital
could
request,
say,
No, it wouldn't be a
Well,
capital request, but it would be a request that came for the town for us to fund it, which we're
Right.
doing through capital. Again, because of the she's right, because of the $25,000 threshold, capital doesn't oversee it or approve it. So it'd be like them asking for tires, the town would
Okay.
pay for it,
So
but-
But we're gonna still use the capital fund.
right, we're gonna use the
Okay.
capital for it.
That's so.
So if this was listed as 2 things rather than
I was just
one.
gonna say, so just for that transparency, to
Right.
show that it doesn't meet that $25,000
Right.
threshold, if we can list them individually,
yes, I can do that.
then I think that would be,
And I will also make a note in the explanation that those 2 items did not go in front of, they did not go through the traditional process, and they are because they didn't meet the criteria. But that we're still recommending them as a purchase, and that the purchase would be made through the capital stabilization fund account.
Okay, all
So
right,
then
so,
Better.
I'll amend my motion to recommend placement of Article 17 with the addition of the explanation and the breaking out of the two sand and salt spreaders, but keeping them in,
yes,
but just listing them as two separate,
correct.
and recommend favorable action by the select board. Tamika, did that make sense? Sorry for the motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, Paul,
Mattson, aye.
Second, I.
Woman,
Ledger, aye. Thank you for that, Harry.
I make a motion that we recommend favorable on Article 17.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that. I have a question about what's happening with the replacement pieces. Are we keeping them and trying to limp them along, or are we going to try to get some money for them? From somebody else.
For what now?
So the chipper is
Oh.
being replaced, the tractor's being replaced, because they're old. I just wonder if we're gonna just keep them in the yard, or if we're going to try to, if there's any question, it's just a,
Basically, they're scrap.
it,
That's where it is.
unless,
So we
So-
maybe sell it for scrap material, or he'll use it for parts if he can, which he's very good at for the new
just
one.
curious.
So the library carpet, is that the entire building, upstairs and downstairs?
Just the upstairs, I believe.
Just the upstairs?
It says all
You'd have to
interior
check.
carpeting.
It's what?
It says all interior
So I
carpeting.
thought it said all.
Maybe downstairs then too. I don't know why the downstairs would need it right now.
it's
it's
really
bad.
bad over here.
Shouldn't we
room is
fix
bad.
that window
Window
before we replace the carpet in here and get all the mold all over it again?
Topic for another day, but you're
Well,
right.
no, it's $57,000. We're gonna rip this up in another year when we open this up and find out that it's a mold mess?
Or we don't replace it with carpet.
We're famous for doing things and then ripping it up in
That's-
2 years.
That's another
excellent.
question. What,
Down here, it should not be carpeting.
Actually, that's very,
All
you
right,
know.
so
the accurate thing.
we have
Yeah,
a motion made and seconded. We're having good discussion about it. All those in favor? Or is there any more discussion? I'm sorry.
I'm in favor of everything but that, so I don't know how we deal with that.
how would you, Heather?
Yes?
If we approve the carpeting, is that a done deal? Or can we change that and say we'd rather look at flooring down here than carpeting?
This just
Or
says,
we only do the upstairs? I'm just trying to, because Carol brings up a very good point down here.
this just says replacement of original carpeting. It doesn't say it necessarily has to be carpet that goes back in.
But then we
It's-
don't know if they've looked at carpeting, we might have a completely different number.
Who's in charge of the library trustees are in charge of the library. We don't really have a say over that, so.
but the carpet out in the general area, that's not,
There's nothing the matter
Bad
with it, except
shape.
for that
This
red
room
out there
is-
that
That
surrounds
room is
that middle,
torn
but
up
this,
a little too.
that carpet looks great.
Yeah.
That one's a little tattered, but
and this one's bad, but.
these are my opinions, but I'm
No.
thinking about why should we ask the town to spend
When
$57,000?
it rains, we've seen it pour in over there.
The rain pours in, so why we're not fixing the window instead of the carpet is beyond me.
If I may, the CIPC, they made their recommendations to the select board at their last meeting. The report, I don't know if if the report gets voted on. I don't recall that it was voted. I think it's taken under advisement. We can certainly, if CIPC was recommending the amount as opposed to the materials, we can certainly talk to the trustees and facilities and see what alternatives can be brought up. But I also know that the moderator has the opportunity at town meeting, if there's concerns on any one of these items individually, he can put a hold on that item and it can be voted separately. So it's not a a one and done vote on this article. We can try to get more information about material options. I don't know what else to say.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded. Does anyone else have any more discussion?
Okay.
Article 17.
Yeah, I would, with all that just said, why can't we next Thursday, if we're gonna meet next Thursday or whenever we next meet, why can't we put together a memo or an email to the trustees and to the town administrator and say, I'm in favor of doing this work, but we should, as Karen said, the window's gotta get looked at before the work in this room gets done, and the other option is to use solid flooring rather than, than carpet, if that is a better alternative. But make that a recommendation from us to ask them to do that or look at that. Or the selectmen can do it. I'm just saying from us.
Yeah, I'm just saying if we're appropriating $57,000 and it says for carpet replacement, it doesn't have to be for carpet replacement. We're redoing it so that 57,000 could apply to whatever the system is we have down here. And that's all we appropriate is 57. So if they can't do the downstairs the way it should be done with flooring, then they'll do the upstairs and it won't come to 57,000, and we have an open warrant for the difference.
Or they could do the upstairs and two with the room, whatever is the worst.
Right.
The cable area was done 2 years ago out of cable funds, okay, so you don't have to worry about that anymore.
And weren't some of the carpeting upstairs replaced with insurance because there was a leak or something?
The
in the
children's
past?
area.
I don't
The
think-
past
I
year?
don't think the carpet was ever replaced. If it
No.
was in that one room.
Yeah, the children's library.
Yeah, the children's
Children's area,
library,
yeah.
that was it.
It's a pretty good sized area though.
Well, and I guess I'm just,
So,
to vote on this, I don't know how, because everything else is, I'm okay with. I'm not okay with that, and I'm not even okay with saying,
we have a couple of different
Should
options.
we say it?
We can
It'll get
vote,
changed.
we can vote negative like we did on the other one, and that would mean that we didn't make a recommendation.
okay,
Or we can rescind our motion, but I think we should, everybody decide we should vote negative, and then there is no favorable recommendation, and we have another meeting and we can send some things forward.
Question of the finance committee, are you voting not favorable on everything?
We're not voting, we're just recommending no action, we're not doing anything on this right
On
now.
the whole, on
On the
all
whole
the other
thing, we're
stuff?
not voting
Okay.
favorable, unfavorable, if the finance committee votes that way.
But it was recommended by the CIPC, so.
Well, the CIPC report, if I may, the CIPC report says that the library had submitted 2 requests. One was for the carpet, which had been before them a number of times, and one for exterior rehabilitation. But there was no documentation or quotes or anything for the exterior rehabilitation, which I believe included
Oh, I'm sure it
leaks
does.
and everything. So it was just
Doesn't the CIPC come in here? I mean, come on.
so, but if I understand.
there was no information, there was no fund, there was no dollar amount, or it sounds like, this is just based on their report.
No, I
So,
noticed that on there,
And
yeah.
So
and
let's,
if I understand, just one more piece, if I understand what Heather said last week to the finance committee, is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but CIPC does not go out and evaluate what's been given. They look at what's been given. So they're not coming and saying, it doesn't make sense to do X, Y, or Z. They're taking what, in this case, the Board of Trustees for the library came to them with and said, okay, it meets the criteria. But there's no
In some cases,
investigation.
you're right, Carol. Other cases, the CIP actually does go out on site. For example, when they were requesting a dump, the whole truck body. We went out, we looked at it, we saw it, did all that kind of stuff. So there are situations, but normally in the library, they probably
They
wouldn't,
take the word of
Yeah.
the request.
considering something that's over 20 years old. You know, I mean, 2002, is that what it says here?
2002, 2000.
2000, yeah,
2000.
25 years old, yeah.
So do we have any more discussion? And I understand, I'm not trying to cut anybody off if we've got any. We have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Aye.
Okay. So that is, we're not, any recommendation.
Just
Good.
more
Okay.
information.
Yep,
That's all.
no, that's fine.
Alright, Article 18, to see if the town will vote to transfer the remaining balances of funds previously appropriated in the combined sum of $94,766.52. And as set forth below, which funds are no longer needed for such purposes or take any action relative thereto.
What happened to 18?
Did you skip over 18?
Oh, I did, sorry. Alright, 18, to see if the town will vote to borrow the sum of $575,000 for the purpose shown below for the fiscal year beginning July 1st to purchase and equip capital equipment, buildings, facilities, and other projects, including as applicable, site preparation, demolition, and other incidental and related expenses. So these are the other capital projects that were rated by CAPC, which Heather kind of gave her summary earlier for the reasoning of the borrowing behind this one. Any questions, comments on placement recommendation?
The only comment or question I have is, based on the comment from Heather on, recreation paying the cost of the 175 over X number of years, however long that note would be, is there any way to tie the funding to that promise of them paying for that?
Well, that's a good question, Alex, because I'm reading here, and all it says is that the revolving account will fund the interest on this portion of the loan. They won't fund any principal. So if they're not funding any principal, then the town's picking up the whole that, and that should not be the case.
Because I also heard the word contribute, which means to me is offsetting, not, they're contributing something, which in this case
Right,
would be
but
interest,
how
not.
much? So
right.
my feeling is if this is a rec thing, then principal and interest, just like a mortgage, should go to pay off that portion of the loan. It shouldn't just be the interest.
Could they do it by even not taking a loan and increasing their fees?
Yeah, see, we're giving them enough $50,000, then we're borrowing the money, and they're only paying the interest on it when they get the 50,000, what Karen was saying.
They don't get the, I mean, they already have the 50,000, they just have the ability to spend it. I mean, they'll raise the 50 in the fees that they collect, it's not town giving them the 50,000.
No, that's not what I'm saying. We increased that amount of money so that they could use that 50,000 to go towards the pool.
But they don't have it yet. They would have to increase their fees to bring in that $50,000.
Don't they have a pretty healthy balance?
They have the
Yeah,
50.
they got a healthy balance.
They have the
Right.
50.
If they have it in there that they wanna use.
Well, last year, they added $20,000 to their balance.
What is their revolving fund balance? Is that
We don't
easy to
know.
see?
She doesn't have that.
We don't know.
The last I looked, it was about $250,000 each. Now, that was a couple of months ago.
Okay. So,
I mean, I don't think it really matters what I think the question is, can we tie this borrowing in some way, shape, or form to them promising to pay it back? Is there any
Right.
way to
the
tie
whole
that?
note.
The whole thing,
The whole thing.
the whole thing, right.
And then my next question is, why aren't we using some of the Rutland Heights money that's just sitting there? Then this is a perfect case. We have tried over years to use that money up there, and this is the example that we have to borrow to use it.
Didn't we just use some of it at
We
fall
did.
meeting?
Yeah, we
Just
did.
a
Which
little
brings
bit.
me to my question.
So part of Heather's reasoning in the adding debt is because having debt, just like in our personal lives, adds to our credit.
Yes.
So you wanna keep a certain level of debt on your books at any given time in order to keep you in good standing with.
Well, I guess then my
creditors.
question would be, Alex, and I agree with you, my question is, did anybody consider the use of the Rutland Heights money for a portion of this? Because it's sitting up there basically untouchable unless we use it for something like this.
Again, this would bring us back to, from what was said, this would bring us back to our current debt level and would keep it consistent, so the townspeople wouldn't see a change in their
Not arguing with that part at all, I agree
Because
with
we're
you.
paying off our existing debt, so
I'm
we won't have it.
not arguing,
Darren.
I agree
So we need to
100%,
have
but I'm
some.
saying, how about Rutland Heights money that we can't use for any other thing?
Well,
But we could use it to purchase chapter land, we could use it for those kind of things. So
Yeah.
to have it sitting there is not, in my estimation, Carol's estimation, a bad thing, it's a good thing.
Yeah, but
my, Darren,
we've, chapter land has come and gone a bunch of times, we haven't used a penny out of it.
Because we haven't had the money, but now we have the money, or some money.
No, we had the
Darren,
money.
my issue with this is, that Rutland Heights property was town property that the town paid for. Everybody in the town paid for it. And now we got money back. But if we use that, then it should be for the use of everybody in the town, not for a select few who seem to go to the pool. That should be a recreation issue only.
He's just talking about the lending in general, though,
Tommy,
not just the pool.
No, he's talking about using money instead of lending.
Right. I was gonna say the exact same thing you just said. To me, these things right here, we should have this come out of the Rutland Heights money, cause it's borrowing for more than 5 years. And then put the provision in there, like Alex just said, that the recreation department can pay back the amount for that pool repair in whatever, whether it takes 5 years or 6 years or whatever, in small amounts. And that way it's accomplishing, I agree with that 100%, because that money, it is, but that money is there. And I understand what you're saying about interest, but if I've got money here and I think we should pay for it. And use that money and then craft the pool repair to recreation to bring those amounts back, as Alex stated earlier.
Heather, I'm not trying to be flip, was any consideration given to the Rutland Heights property money for this article?
No, it was not.
There was no direction given to do that. Keeping the debt on the books is the goal of this article.
Okay,
And just to be clear, whether we have cash and use it to pay for that, now we're losing the interest that we get from that cash versus paying the interest on a debt. It's the same thing.
okay,
And this benefits us by keeping debt on the books.
Which was the goal that we were presented, and that's why we wanted to do it this way.
And for that dollar amount, or this
you
dollar.
guys just need to make a recommendation, we'll follow.
So, though, I have a question. When we did, as Jen said, we used the Heights money last fall for we used 222.5 about for the school security system, and now we're adding to the system. Why did we not know about
No,
This was
no,
different.
the
the
money we spent,
bi-directional?
what we spent was for the public safety building. This money here is for,
The school.
Okay, so it's not,
Glenwood
it had
School
nothing to do with the
amplifier so
schools?
they can talk down there,
at
they
Glenwood
can't.
School.
It had nothing to do with the schools?
No, two different things. Well, it's got public safety
Right.
involved because they can't talk, but it's not to do with what we did.
Security system,
schools.
we
Yes.
voted the security
It's
system.
because they can't, nobody can talk out of there in a case of an emergency. That's,
It's all emergency
My
related.
notes had said
but
it was
it's-
school
in
related,
people, you
so.
can't go there.
All right, so we need a motion, right?
well,
Do we need a
Well,
motion?
first off, I'd
Can I
like, if I
just-
might, first off, Heather, can we change the language at the bottom here in the explanation, say pay back the funds interest and principal both, not just interest? Can we change that?
We can, once I get the debt repayment schedule back and talk with the rec director and make sure that they are comfortable with that. And if they're not comfortable with it, then we'll remove the borrowing from that
Here we go.
article.
Okay.
I want to. They have to be comfortable that either they're going to be able to pay for it under their existing revolving fee schedule, or if they're comfortable raising the rates. I just need to hear from them before I commit them to those funds, and we won't know that until we get that debt schedule, which should be Monday.
So can
So-
I ask the board
Yes.
then, is the board in agreement that for this item, we would like to see what Harry is proposing, that interest and principal be paid for by recreation in full for their portion of this? Or are we looking?
For sure, yeah, I was looking for something a little bit more,
With teeth in it?
official of time, cause this just says like,
Yeah.
they're
Right.
planning to pay for it, but like, if they just next year like, hey, we're not putting it, I don't know that we can affect that, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Right.
No, we can't, because it's chapter 53 money, you can't, we have no access to it, so we can't just go grab it from.
They have to have a written agreement or something,
Yeah.
they have to
Right.
kind of
We
buy
have
it.
to agree to give
MOU.
it to us, right?
So that's what I just wanna make sure the board's in agreement with, that we expect recreation to pay for interest and principal on their portion of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think getting something signed by them for some sort of
Yeah.
agreement would be a required aspect to this. It doesn't have to be part of the article, but I think us being able to say that, they've agreed to do this, whatever the timing is, I'm not
It would be
overly
sound
concerned
practice to
about
do
that,
it, you
but-
gotta do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes total sense.
And I
Yeah.
think also just an idea for recreation is I believe that there is a pool fee. And it would not be unusual to have an out-of-town pool fee be slightly higher than in-town pool fee, so that
Believe there are two.
some of the outside people,
I think there's 2 pool fees.
if there's not, I think there should be.
I thought there was when I looked it up, but I could be wrong.
Because this is a liability. I mean, even if we have an understanding or something written, if they go out of business, we're still as a town on the hook for this.
Alright,
So a
so-
motion to
yeah.
place and vote favorably pending, the discussed changes made to the resurface, retile, pool and repair deck item on Article 18?
18.
18.
Second.
Any further discussion by the board? Paul?
Martin, aye.
Second, I.
Vote aye.
Ledger I.
I would like to entertain a motion for favorable action with the selectmen's recommended changes.
Well, do we have to do that, or could we just table it? Table our,
Do it.
Motion
If we don't
until-
give a motion, we essentially
until
table.
we know what recreation decides? I think that's better.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to table our recommendation on Article 18.
Second,
A motion to table our recommendation on Article 18. Any other discussion?
Yes, I'd like to see can we get a report, can we get some information on what the advantages of the money that we're making by leaving the money sit there, as opposed to what's gonna cost us to borrow it? And I understand the part about you have debt on the books for
I
your
would-
credit rating and stuff, but I think we got plenty of debt that we're paying off. But I'd like to see some kind of a
I would like to make,
information that shows us exactly what's happening there.
I would like
See what
to,
I do.
I would like to send a formal letter at our next finance committee meeting and discuss
Okay,
this and do that.
That's fine.
And that would tie what we got, this. I
That's fine.
agree 100%, but
Okay,
let's,
that's fine.
So, can I just ask for a clarification on that? Can you tell me what money is sitting where and
we're
what?
gonna come up with what we think, the direction we'd like to go at the next finance committee meeting.
Okay, and I don't know if now is an appropriate time to say that or not, but if your next finance committee meeting is on the 16th, that's a conflict that I have with the charter committee. I need to attend that meeting, so I can certainly provide you in writing with any of the updates, but I will not be able to attend your meeting.
That's all right, we would have a formal request at the next meeting for you to act.
Okay, perfect.
All those, any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion? The table.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, perfect. Moving on.
Alright, now to Article 19. See if the town will vote to transfer the remaining balances of funds previously appropriated in the combined sum of $94,766.52 as set forth below, which funds are no longer needed for such purposes. So these are old special articles that no longer have a lifespan. They've been out there for so long that the amounts appropriated are no longer feasible, or completed projects that just need to be closed out. They're split out here to reappropriate the funds for the top portion back to capital stabilization, and there's a couple of there were DPW related articles that would go back to water and sewer retained earnings.
And I have a comment or a question whenever I can speak on this. Just let me know.
Let's let them vote, and then I'll entertain your question during our portion.
Questions, comments, concerns?
I think per our financial policies, we have it set that they need to have movement or something for a year. So, any special articles so we shouldn't be seeing this continue, going forward, that the articles need to have some sort of
Timeline,
movement
yeah.
within
Right.
within
A
that
sunset.
year, right?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And let me clarify my statement. If you have a question for the selectmen related to this, you can add, it's got nothing to do with me at this point. So if you'd like to ask them, have a
Split hairs again.
well, if she recognizes you.
I'm just kidding.
This was brought to my attention by a resident. And I went to talk to Heather about it the other day because I didn't know that the $35,000 that was appropriated in 2019 at the special town meeting was involved in this. I did ask Heather if there's a timeline that we have identified, but she said, she wasn't here, so she really doesn't know what happened. But it was quite an extensive conversation on town floor. I mean, quite extensive to put this through. And then COVID hit in 2020, so with the pandemic. Our town administrator at the time left, so we're talking 2019 when it was appropriated. Our town administrator was on board with this and then left sometime in the summer. Then we had another town administrator, which conversation went on about it, however, it was on hold because what we were going to do and what we did do is form a committee to go out and go to towns of comparable size and find out how their senior centers were. So could we renovate the one we have? Could we build a new one? We were gonna do some comparisons, but that got halted with the pandemic for a few years. Because people weren't getting together, we didn't, people were wearing masks, so. Then when we got a new town administrator in the fall of 2020, which is when we were talking about this, we still couldn't go out, we couldn't do anything. So then he was not here a full term of 3 years, we got another town administrator. Actually, we got an interim, so not much discussion went on about that until the town administrator in 2023 came into play. We talked about it each year, and then finally we were addressed, actually recreation and the senior center, to participate and pay a portion of a study last year that was about $33,000. the group that did the study, Weston and Sampson, I know came back to both groups. We had some discussion. And then they came back to us with part of a plan, and since we haven't seen anything. But it was still something in motion, and I was under the impression that half of that money was taken out of the 35. And because they said senior center study and recreation, it was utilized in the format that it was supposed to be used at, because it was supposed to be for a study or some work towards that. Just finding out that that money was not used for that study. So rather than take it out, you know, we don't do a whole lot for the seniors. Capital Improvement sent me an email this year. They had a ton of requests that have been going in year after year. And I was, they said, well, we're really not gonna do anything with it because your automatic door opener went in, which was way under the limit, that cost not even $7,000. And we don't know if we're gonna move forward because we don't know if we're gonna do anything with that building, which sends me a message. If we don't know if we're gonna do anything with the building, why would you take the money away to possibly find out what you're gonna do with the building? Or it would seem to me they maybe would have suggested funding something through capital improvement. So I think at least instead of being included in this, and Heather said to me, this meeting's going on tonight, it's your chance to maybe not have it included, rather than make it a point of contention on town floor. I would like to see that money removed from that total to at least have some further discussion, because we were under the impression that waiting for, word on this study and what are we gonna do? And you know what, regardless of where the money came from for the study, we spent $33,000 again on a study. We should do something with it, not throw away $33,000 and then throw in the other 35 in, because it is something, it's not a project that doesn't need to be done or not addressed. So that's my concern.
Can I answer that? You bring up a very good point, Nancy, in that there's $35,000 sitting there. The problem is we can't use that. Because this $35,000, in my opinion, was 6 years ago. That study doesn't even come close to the 35,000 won't even come close to a study. So if that's all we can use it for, it's sitting there doing nothing.
I don't know that that's all we can use it for. I'd have to look at it.
No, that's it. We have an article for the study. If we want to use it for something else, we really gotta move it out of there. It can't stay in that place. So if we move it to the capital stabilization fund, now you have something that you wanna do. Now we can apply that money to the capital stabilization for a capital expense. But to come to us and say, we wanna buy, or we wanna redo this portion of the building. Well, now it has to go to a different area because we can't use the 35, that's sitting there in an article. Unless we decide to take that article out, which is what we're trying to do now, to clean up all this stuff, man. That's the reason we're really trying to do this. It's not to take it away from you, it's to clean up a mess that 6 years, we just can't have something sitting there tying up an asset.
Which I understand, but what if it comes to, okay, we wanna approach this again? Does that study that we paid for last year count as this, or is somebody gonna say, well, you need another study done, which sometimes, even if it's more than $35,000, you can get additional funding for.
I
don't know.
don't know what the future is on that personally, I don't know. All I know is we've got $35,000 locked up, it's in a vault, and we can't get at it.
And I understand that, but
So-
I guess I'd still like clarification,
I
that
may.
33, what happened with it,
If-
and is it an appropriate study?
We had the study done, and it was brought back before town meeting last year to request to take the next step, and that was voted down.
Right.
So, in my mind, we've done what we wanted to with this, and we just keep spending money on studies and studies and studies and never vote to move them forward. So, the other piece of this for me is also, there's a lot of chatter out there about people not supporting the override just for town services. So how are we ever gonna support anything for building any new buildings? So what's the point of putting money into a study right now for new buildings that we can't even maintain what we have right now? So for me, We've done the study. The continuation of that study to move forward in that building process was voted down.
Last fall, we took a bunch of library ones that were specific and moved them so that the library could use them from a different source. So we could do the same thing so that she could move, we could bring it to a town meeting and have them say, we're gonna move it from this for this purpose. We did it for the library, we could do it for the Council on Aging.
Or
could.
even still, but if this was earmarked in the CIPC, that fund.
Right.
For the library, she can, if she comes up with something that's 35,000
I'm
or
saying.
more, right, but it doesn't, there's a couple of different ways to skin the cat here.
Right. But we could leave it there and then we could move it at a town meeting like we did for the library.
First, it has to go through CIPC, and CIPC has to approve it.
And I think
Did
there's,
CIPC approve everything that changed for the library?
It wasn't over the $25,000 threshold.
Because they chunked it out.
That's the difference.
If I may,
Heather, can I let,
Um,
let Heather go, Heather, you can go.
just really quickly, so the article that you had on your warrant, moving funds out of capital into operating was flagged, as a, it wasn't handled as, DOR did flag that. So if you want to reappropriate capital to capital, you can do that, such as a reappropriation where you expand the scope or modify the scope.
When you say it was flagged, what did they say?
Because it went from capital to operating. You took money out of capital and put it into an operating general fund. That was the concern. So you're absolutely correct. The money can be, the scope of the article can be changed, but it can't go from capital to operating. It has to go from a capital to capital.
Well, they let us do a capital to operating, they just said it's not the best use, but when they let us do it,
No, they did. We did it without asking them.
right, but they didn't stop us.
Well,
They didn't stop us.
They didn't give us approval, let's put it that way.
So DOR
So-
didn't know about it until we closed our books. So it wasn't that they didn't stop us. I don't think anybody asked the question.
If you go to town meeting,
Anyway,
you take this article,
People,
town meeting votes to make it into something else, that, you can do that.
Right.
That's town meeting.
I'm not
done.
arguing it.
Can I-
No, I'm
saying-
not saying.
If you wanted to go to a capital, I'm
Can I
sorry,
let
let
Leah
Leah
comment,
talk,
please?
yeah.
No, I just was gonna say, I think I remember the conversation in 2019 regarding this article, and there was a very strong want for, to move forward with a new senior center, space designed for seniors and with seniors in mind and senior focused. That was 7 years ago at this point, almost, and there hasn't been any real movement on it. And to Jen's point, the last time there was any conversation about it, it was shot down massively at town meeting. So I think clearing this to the capital stabilization, there's also similar sentiment as to every time there's building repair requests for that building on Glenwood, there's concerns that it's putting lipstick on a pig and that it's not, that it needs a lot more work than what we can do. And so I think putting it towards this capital stabilization, seeing how the budget and override goes this year, having a thoughtful conversation, maybe we come back at the fall town meeting and ask for a thoughtful planned funding source for a study or a commitment, or we can do some more research to see what additional studies have been done. Because I do think that Nancy, you and Karina had met with Weston and Sampson after the town meeting vote where it failed, I thought. But I don't know, I don't remember the timeline specifically. So I think that there can be some more work done, but I think moving this, clearing all of these accounts now and kind of resetting and seeing where we are now with current costs now, rather than saying, well, we have 35,000 here, but really it's gonna cost 60, and so we're just gonna keep sitting on the 35 and hope that we can piece together the other pieces for it. So that's kind of where I'm following your logic too, Harry.
My hope is, Nancy, that when this gets moved, you will apply next year for a big capital expense that we can take it out of capital. Because you've been, I won't say slighted all these years, but there's a lot of stuff you requested, we haven't met our requirement.
Right, but if I keep putting in big capital requests, but I need, can I just, through the chair, get a clarification? What failed was like $80,000. What most people were upset about was not what it was going towards, was using the same company to do a study that previously they didn't produce whatever they were supposed to. And I don't know that it just involved the recreation/senior center. I think it involved more to
All
do
I
with a
remember is
lot
the
of
Weston and
town.
Sampson, their suggestion for the senior center was smaller than the one we have now and without a kitchen.
Right, so
And so that right there was a huge thing, because we do
That
use
was
the kitchen.
based on the
was a waste
study
of
and the
money.
needs.
That was a
They were
waste of
saying
money.
based on what they found, that
Well,
it's not a
But
conversation
that was,
for here.
but that was the reason, but you brought it up, so I just remember that was one of the reasons that was brought up heavily on. It was because it was,
I'm gonna use Jen's line, I think we should stick to Article 19. And the selectmen should move forward.
So I would vote to place Article 19 as presented in this document, and that the select board recommend favorable action.
Motion, is there a second?
Go ahead, Paul.
Matt's and I.
You want a second?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I thought you seconded.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
All right, we have a motion and a second from Paul. Is there any further discussion?
I just wanna say, I mean, I fully support doing something for the seniors. I just think that right now we need to reset and be thoughtful with the
What that is.
different
Well,
pieces of information.
I don't wanna blinger this conversation, cause I feel like we've kind of beat it to a horse here, but I do think that reappropriating that to senior center use, whether it's capital or not, whatever it is, seems like the appropriate thing to do, to me. And I say that with the caveat that because we did the study and it doesn't look like the cost got taken out of that, we should remove the 15,000 that should have been paid out of that and allocate the remaining 20,000 towards some other senior center project.
But there isn't a project that we can put in the article to reappropriate it towards. We don't have any scope
Couldn't
or
we say
parameters.
couldn't we just say senior center, building improvements?
I'm not,
or-
no, because I think, I mean, the capital report has hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of, like,
And-
$20,000 isn't gonna do anything.
Right, if you do 20, then it'll have to come through the town because it's not a capital expense, so the capital can't recommend it because it has to be over 25.
But I'm saying to move it to an article for them to use for whatever they decide to, like, for whatever the senior center
But we need to have
decides.
specific parameters in that article for what it goes towards.
Be spent
So if
for-
we reappropriate it to capital stabilization and we come up with for the fall town meeting an applicable project for senior center use, then we can have an article on the fall town meeting to reappropriate from capital stabilization, whatever that might be. But we don't have anything
And that's what
to
I would
reappropriate
encourage
it to
Nancy
right
to
now.
do.
I just feel, I feel like
Wish I knew about it before.
if we do that and then that doesn't get voted in, all of a sudden, or that doesn't happen because we don't have the money for it or whatever the case, now the money that they had at one point is no longer directed towards the senior.
But my thing, it's intended here for a specific purpose.
get it, yeah.
And that purpose is no longer viable or it's past its useful life for how long this has been out here. So
Well-
that means you need to put it back where it went and
Let voters
and
decide.
let voters decide what needs to be the priority and vote on that.
Yeah, that's fair.
it's not much different though than the articles that the town voted for the library that were brought in the fall
That
meeting.
is different. That was, I'm not even, we're talking about this right here. We have a
Right, we
motion
have a
and a
motion,
second. Is there any,
Excuse me, I'm sorry,
Karen?
it's conversation.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further
It
discussion?
might work with your children, it doesn't work with me, it's rude.
Excuse me.
Keep it.
Second, I,
Wait,
We both did.
yeah.
Ledger I.
Alright. Let's take a breath here, everybody. We're almost through this, we're getting better. Do we have a recommendation from the finance committee related to Article 19?
I make a motion that we vote, or recommend a favorable action for Article 19.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion made and second. Do we have any more discussion?
What is
As
an
directly, wait a minute, excuse me,
RRAR plan?
hold on. As directly related to this article.
What's an RRAR plan?
Yeah, what is that? Oh, put it back in water and sewer, that's good by me.
I know, but I'd like to know what the RRAR was.
No, I meant to ask that last Thursday and I didn't.
It was the Risk and Resilience Assessment and Resulting Plan
Oh,
for the town drinking water supply.
Oh, thank you, Jen.
Resilient water.
I still don't know what it's all good for,
That goes
but I
with-
understand it
gets
now.
polluted.
so I just wanna say, I understand what all that conversation was, but I think the best thing to do with these right now is to put them in that capital stabilization, because as was said earlier, all these are very specific. That's what an article is for. An article is for very specific use. And if you put it in the capital stabilization, somebody can just come back with a request and get reviewed. And it can get appropriated out of there and be done with it. Simple.
All of these were appropriated from capitalization, capital stabilization?
Negative.
So how can we put them back into capital?
We can put them anywhere we
So
want.
can-
Well, my
Free
question
cash.
is, if I follow the logic that was said that the library changes last year were flagged because they went from capital to operations, why can we have free cash to capitalization? Is that like
I think,
no different?
sorry, if I may,
We do that all the time.
I think if I may, I think because the article is for capital-like projects, then it needs to stay as a capital-like.
Capital like, okay.
I don't know for sure, but that's my
Where you guys are going
interpretation.
to, they're recommending.
The pool house
Recommended
doors,
it.
what's the minimum,
Give you in a
20,000?
second, Heather.
25.
25? The pool house doors were not 25, that's why I'm asking, they
This
didn't
is really
come.
leftover money. I think that there was more allocated for some of these articles, and this is just
Yes,
articles that were
Right,
Some
not,
of these were
oh,
completed, this is
yes, but I'm
leftover.
saying that they were not, I just wanna make sure they were not necessarily in capital stabilization. They probably came out of free cash, but we're gonna put them back into capitalization, which I'm hearing is fine to do, it's not okay to put it into operations.
Correct.
I,
If I may,
yeah, sure.
Heather, go ahead.
so my conversation with town council was where is an appropriate place to put this money? The options were close them to free cash, capital stabilization, or general stabilization. Because all of the projects were of a special article, whether they met the criteria for capital or not. And because we know that if we let them roll to free cash, then they become an opportunity for them to go to anything else. You know, they would just become part of the general budget moving forward to be appropriated for whatever possible free cash appropriations that we want to make. This way, at least we would capture it into one account where we would know that it was there and could reappropriate it for capital or other special article type scenarios. That being said, if this group would like to make a decision that is different than that, that is a perfectly fine. This is a recommendation based on, I guess, just what you've been talking about is the fact that it's there and you can reappropriate it for other capital needs as you see fit. But you also do have the option. All of this could very easily roll to free cash, or it could go to your general stabilization. So those are definitely options. The only ones that you don't have an option are the water and sewer retained earnings.
My 2 cents on this is, this has, going to capital stabilization before we spend it has to jump through a few more hoops, so there's a little bit more regulatory getting it out, checks and balances getting out the door. So I think this is appropriate. I mean, anywhere else it goes, it can be spent pretty quickly. This has at least have to jump through a hoop or two.
Do we have, my thinking is that this is not a complete list. I might be wrong. So is this list, what else is out there that could be recouped? Is anything else?
This is what's out there that at this moment in time is done or has no movement. Everything else that's out there is still in progress, being worked on, is not at a
Kinda
point,
still
at a
in
point
motion.
where we can close it out.
Like 3 or 6 months ago, I forget when it was. but we
So
went
it's
through
kinda
the-
in motion, everything else.
Nice to see.
Could we get a copy of that sent to us? Heather?
I'm sorry, what was the
Could we get a
question?
copy of all the special articles that are still on the books?
I tried to do that.
I think
Yeah,
we get a report on
I
that
think
every,
it's a spreadsheet, I think that Jen, was that something that you created or something that came
get
from?
I created one for myself, yes, to go through
Okay.
and do everything.
We asked for that
That's what
list
we
a
get the
few meetings
library money,
ago.
remember?
Several
Did we
times.
do
It
that?
was part of my
cleared-
review,
Yes, yeah. All right, does anyone else have any more questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Aye. I'm an aye, so motion carries.
That's opposed, sorry.
How many opposed?
I don't think you asked.
No. Do we have anybody to oppose it?
Yeah.
1, 2,
No, one.
Just one.
just one.
Just one.
Just,
So Karen, for clarification, did you vote?
she did.
Yes, you voted aye.
Yes.
Thank you. That's
You
all.
don't need any clarification, I'll speak up.
That's all.
Whispered in my ear.
Please.
I
And
don't
you don't
have
have
any-
any problem with it, so,
I don't have any problem admitting that I'm not voting, don't worry.
no. Okay,
Article 20, see
that's
if
4 to 1.
See if the town will vote to authorize the select board to enter into a lease purchase financing agreement pursuant to GL chapter 44, section 21C for the acquisition and equipping of a command vehicle for use by the fire department, including all incidental and related expenses for a term not to exceed 6 years. The useful life of said equipment as determined by the select board, and provided further that the select board has voted to use the sum of $18,000 from the MCCM trust account for the first year lease payment. Heather, I don't have it written down, but I know it's gonna come up what MCCM is. Do you recall? It's the Holden Hospital.
Holden Hospital money.
Yeah,
Massachusetts Community,
Mass, Central Mass,
MCC.
it's an endowment fund, hold on, I've
Do
got
you
it
remember,
right
Tommy?
here.
With that MCCM?
Hold the hospital money that
I
was
think
left
it's
over when they
Massachusetts
closed.
Community
Yes.
Care something, I think, something like that.
It's an endowment fund of $2.5 million. The interest is paid annually to the communities that were supported by Holden Hospital to support enhanced EMS services for the community. We have received those funds annually since 1993. The average return is about $19,200 per year. The funds from this account have been used in the past to fund vehicles, specifically leases, where the lease terms can be managed to fit to the payment reschedule amounts. So this, we received 18.7 for the FY26. We received the payment in July of each year. So by the time that this lease payment would come due, we would have the 26 available as well as the 27.
Motion to place Article 20 and vote favorable action.
second,
Any discussion? Paul?
That's an aye.
second I,
Vote aye.
And I,
Ledger, aye.
Motion from the finance committee. I'll make a motion that the finance committee vote favorably on Article 20. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do you have any discussion on this?
I have one comment on the article. I just think that the vehicles that get passed down should be in the articles, what's gonna I understand that there was an explanation that we had from Seth that said it would be passed down to whoever could, but I think whatever was getting replaced should either be said what they're gonna do with it or where it's gonna go. Because every time we replace a vehicle, it's just there. And somebody else gets it to drive it. How many vehicles do we have and how many are being used?
This one says that it's gonna be used for non-emergency related departmental, such as inspections.
I know, but there's 3 vehicles there now to be used.
How
This
many
particular
vehicles
one
does
says
the fire department have?
DPW.
Okay, so
Didn't
what
we
are they
ask that
gonna get
question?
rid of then?
They don't have the vehicle that this one is. They need a big vehicle. And they don't have, this is an F-350 that is built out for hard duty work. Right now, they have a little F-150, I think it is, that they're using. So this is the one that's gonna replace that. And they're not gonna have to
not an
buy it. So we're
F-350.
saving $80,000 a year for that.
The separate vehicle.
This isn't the F-350.
This is the chief's car.
This is
This is the deputy
No,
chief's car.
this is the truck, isn't it?
No, this is
okay.
This is command.
Heather,
Explorer.
could you clarify in the explanation to satisfy some of the questions in the room where the vehicle would go? The old vehicle would go.
I think it's there.
Yeah, it's going to be used for non-emergency related department use such as inspections. So when the member of the fire department goes out to do a smoke detector inspection, they would take this vehicle rather than
The new pickup
another
truck.
vehicle.
Okay. All right.
Question.
Absolutely.
So we're anticipating that the first year of this lease will be taken care of by MCCM. What are the remaining 5 years? Are they going to be picked up by MCCM yearly until it's finished? Or not? If not, are they in our projections for the next few years on our projection budgets?
I had a discussion with the fire chief and he said this would be paid out of that every year. We can get a clarification on this, but
Yeah, because there's nothing, again, similar to taking out a loan for a pool. If we don't have that and it's decided that the town's gonna pay for it and the $18,000 is gonna go for something else.
well, they can only use it for a specific purpose.
Okay.
And they would have to go through, if they use it for something different, it wasn't with the spirit of what we're doing right here. And I just don't think they would do that.
But in the same spirit that we're asking recreation to sign something, shouldn't we ask the fire department to do the same thing?
Does the 18,000 we get in, does that cover the 1 year's lease payment?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
We used to use.
And it is
Go ahead.
it is understood that the lease payments would pay for, that the trust funds would pay for the lease payments over the duration of the lease. There would be no further appropriation made. You're not and in this article, you're not making an additional appropriation. And if there was ever an opportunity where the fire department said the trust cannot make the lease payment, they would have to come back and ask town meeting for an appropriation for that payment, right? Because we don't have, there isn't room in any of our existing budgets for lease payments unless they're asked for and appropriated.
How many vehicles does the fire department have?
I have no idea.
Trucks of that sort.
Do we have a list, Billy?
I don't believe that this is going to be a truck. I believe this is going to be an SUV.
It's a chief's car. It's the second deputy chief's vehicle. Seth talked to me about it. I don't know the answer to how many vehicles they have. We can ask that question. Carol's diligently writing. And we can, but she just told us that this is, the payment, the lease payment will come out of this fund every year till the payment is, completed.
That's the understanding, but why not ask them the same way that we're asking the recreation, that they're going to be required to pay for it? Because what happens is people change, and all of a sudden it's like, no, 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 that wasn't what was said. We said after 2 years it was coming out of the budget.
I don't know how to write that into this, and we've been
Yeah.
asked to,
Yeah, I mean, if there was to be an alternative payment method for these lease payments, that would have to come before town meeting for an appropriation.
Darren, if I may, I know the answer to the question. The department has 3 vehicles: the fire chief's SUV, the deputy fire chief's SUV, and the truck. They consider it car 3. So they have car 1, car 2, and car 3.
Thank you, Tamika.
thank you. So if, to answer Karen's question, if the explanation had that the payments for this would be coming out of this for the next 5 years, it would be it's formally accepted into the town record, it has to come out that way.
Right.
So, could we have the explanation, explain that? And then I think we're covered. I don't have a problem with that. I don't see it anywhere else, but I understand what Karen's saying. Heather, can we have the explanation, just for the public record, that's gonna be there forever, just say that, for the duration of the vehicle lease, it would be come out of this account?
We can do that, yes.
And that would cover everything, I think. Good.
Yep.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Alright, Article 21, there's 2 different versions for Article 21. The first was, the article submitted by RDIC requesting to transfer $25,000 of free cash for the RDIC to use to landscape and clear the Rutland Heights property. As an alternative for consideration, there is here where we can vote to transfer the remaining sum from a special article of $11,975.35 from Article 16 of the May 2018 annual town meeting, which was for RDIC purposes, to essentially reappropriate that to make the scope a little bit broader to allow them to utilize the remaining balance of that article for their suggested purposes, rather than expending additional free cash.
I personally support the alternative one, and then if there's movement or anything in the fall, if there's additional free cash, then have them come forward again. But given all the back and forth with their charge and everything, I would like to see some work on stuff, and I don't think that it needs, personally, I don't know that it needs to be beautifully landscaped. I understand that they wanna clean some stuff up, but if it's going on the market, any developer may want to do their own work on it. So I am hopeful that they are starting to take some action on it, but so that's why for the spring, I would be comfortable reallocating the sum of 11,000 and then see how things go and possibly consider something in the fall, personally.
Agreed.
So I'll make a motion then if there's no other conversation from the board.
No, I agree with you. I think the alternative is the one I would like to see. I know we wanna beautify the property, but we still have, what, 120 homes to sell up there? Which could take years, so beautifying it now isn't gonna make that move any faster by spending 25 grand, so I kind of agree with you.
That we
on
don't
that.
have.
You sure don't, right.
So I would move to place Article 21 alternative as presented here with the reappropriating the $11,975.35 and with a favorable recommendation from the select board.
So, just a point of order, do you have to, on 20, you have to, either the 21 and 21 alternative, is that, so we're gonna say alternate?
No, it's gonna become the
replacing one.
text. It's just
It's just either or?
right, yeah,
Okay,
right.
that's all I'm saying.
Placing one or the other.
Right.
Okay, perfect.
It's
Yeah.
just the
Yep.
text.
So it'll
Nope.
just become Article 21 then for the actual.
You clarified for it,
Yeah.
I'm perfect.
I seconded.
Is there any other discussion? All right, Paul?
Mattson, aye.
Second, I,
Wait a minute,
Ledger, aye. Thank you.
I'd like to entertain a motion, to the Finance Committee's recommendation on Article 21.
I make
There's
a
no-
motion that we recommend favorable action on Article 21, that's labeled alternative here. It'll be 21, just plain.
Yes. We have a second. We have a second.
A second only for discussion or second person
Okay.
discussion.
Okay, we have a motion seconded, any discussion?
I don't see the difference between this and the senior center. Am I the only?
Nope,
No.
it's exactly how exactly how I
I'm
am.
just, I don't know why it wasn't included in the rolling it over into the
Capital
stabilization.
if I may, I
Stabilization.
believe I imagine RDIC had put in the request for Article 21. And so there was a formal request from for a warrant article, and I assume the administration has worked, Heather has worked and other employees have worked to see if there was an option instead of using free cash. And I know that this has been a conversation also with RDIC in trying to move forward.
Okay. So,
If I may, I believe there's also a restriction on the terms of the original appropriation, the $35,000 that was originally appropriated, right? It could only be used by RDIC.
okay, so,
That was
Am
free
I-
cash. That was free cash.
No, the original 35,000 was appropriated from the sale of the Rutland Heights property.
In 2018, the property
was no
wasn't
sale.
sold.
No, it was appropriated in 2018 for RDIC to
That's what I'm saying.
expend.
So it wasn't
It's just a free
appropriated
cash.
from,
Or capital.
right, it was from one of our cash funds. It wasn't from the sale of the proceeds.
yes,
Still up for the,
Cash funds, it wasn't from the sale of the proceeds.
absolutely.
Jen, if I may,
Go ahead.
Jen, if I may,
Yeah, go ahead. It's a little bit confusing with the thing, but go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I have like a weird delay on my end, so I'm so sorry if I just talked over somebody.
Nope. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, those proceeds came from free cash essentially in exchange for the funds that they received from clearing the trees on the parcel closest to Bill's garage.
okay.
Really?
Thought it was free.
So it was free cash. So we have a motion on the floor, on the table here, and seconded to move ahead with favorable action on Article 21 alternative, not understanding that it may not, yes, that's it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion. Alright. Motion is, we're not gonna vote favorable action. We will bring it up at the town meeting. What does this have to do with,
We have to take the vote.
we have to take the vote over what?
That's the nays,
Yeah.
Okay,
that's the nays.
Tommy said yes.
Tommy
Did you say yes?
Rushala, aye. Narwhal,
Nay.
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 Ross, aye. And I can know that there was nobody's, okay, I understand.
So are we voting for the regular Article 21 since you turned down the alternative?
no.
We didn't turn it down, we're just not placed,
Oh.
we're just not
We're not
voting.
voting tonight.
And
All
just for Darren's point of clarification as the finance committee chairman, what are we opposed to? Could anybody clarify why we voted that down?
For me,
Yes,
they've been sitting on it for so long, why now are they gonna do something with it? And the town needs money, granted, it's little over, under $12,000. But that's $12,000 that could be put back into capital stabilization for something that's actually gonna be used.
And for me, I agree, and I've heard it before, what Leah said is that a developer has the eye. They don't need to see something beautiful, they see past that. So I don't think we need to spend money on that, and I think it needs to be, I think that we should get a broker or some kind of somebody that will help to sell the property that will take their fee out of the proceeds of a sale. I don't think that we should be marketing. I think that they should be a resource for a broker, but I don't think that this is money well
yeah,
spent.
okay. Those 2 points help me bring clarification and understanding to why you guys voted against it.
Yes, and it's
And let's-
on that.
Let's move on.
And I agree
Yeah,
with
there
that
was a
too.
point.
That's,
Okay.
I just needed to know
Yep.
why, and I understand now. Moving on.
No, well, just put on that point is the town has a request for proposal out right now for real estate broker or real, whatever you want, however you want, to market Rutland properties. And I think what Heather told me the other day was that's due back on April 17th or something
And
like
I
that.
believe they take the fee, at
Well,
sale.
whatever, I'm just saying they are gonna do something to
Yep.
try to find
Just
somebody
like
to
any
move the
other realtor.
properties,
Yep.
apparently.
Article 22, to see if the town will vote to accept the provisions of MGL Chapter 40, Section 8J, to authorize the establishment of a commission on disability consisting of not fewer than 5 nor more than 13 members, appointed in accordance with the statute, with a majority of members being persons with disabilities, one member being an immediate family member of a person with a disability, and one member being an elected or appointed town official. Any questions, concerns?
I think we talked about this at one of our board meetings, that,
This is essentially the creation of a disabilities commission for the town to be able to evaluate buildings, websites, anything that we can do to improve our accessibility for.
and I believe it makes us, Heather, I believe it makes us more competitive for some grant applications and everything also.
And this
It
says,
most certainly does.
Didn't we do something like this a few years ago? Not a committee, but.
we had a
like formal
person,
committee.
didn't we have the
person.
building
We had
inspector,
the
didn't we
ADA,
do something with the
person.
building inspector back then? Certify it or something?
Yes.
So
Cindy was in.
Mass General Law requires that every town has an ADA coordinator. In many communities of Rutland size, the ADA coordinator position is ceremoniously given to the town administrator. So I am your ADA coordinator. An ADA commission is a little different. They are a advisory board, but they are also have the ability to meet with and work with constituents in the community that have ADA related concerns, and they are recognized by the Commonwealth with those certain expectations, and it's different than the coordinator role. And when you do apply for ADA grant work, you get another round of points simply by having an ADA commission. And certainly we know we have ADA work to be done. And we intend to be pretty aggressive with that grant application process. So in addition to the fact it is a wonderful opportunity for residents who have ADA concerns to have their own board and their own advocacy within the community.
Motion to place Article 22 and vote favorable action.
Second. Any other discussion from the board? Paul?
That's an aye.
Second, I.
Vote aye.
Ledger, aye.
I would entertain a motion on Article 22, please.
We better increase that capital account pretty quick. I make a motion that we recommend favorable on Article 22.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. Do we have any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Article 23, to see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Rutland General Bylaw by adopting a floodplain management bylaw as on file with the town clerk in order to comply with Federal Emergency Management Agency requirements for participation in the National Flood Insurance Program and to protect the health, safety, and general welfare of the inhabitants of the town by regulating development in flood hazard areas.
Motion to place Article 23 and vote favorable action.
Is there any discussion? Okay, Paul?
That's an aye.
Second, I.
Vote aye.
Ledger, aye.
I would accept the motion on Article 23.
I make a motion that we recommend a favorable action on 23.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? All those in favor of favorable action, vote on Article 23.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Article 24. Lee, I know charter's meeting next week. I hesitate to make a recommendation on this until we have an official anything from charter, just saying whether or not they're gonna end up moving forward or not.
Right.
Because there was also some conversation, given the length of the warrant as it is, and probably the conversation that the budget will generate, if there would be a possible interest from the select board to consider a special town meeting similar to how we did the bylaws specifically for the charter.
Okay,
So that it's well advertised that it's for the charter, and that would be the only topic to give the charter adequate space and brain power, because being the last article of what is likely to be a long night might not be the most fair for the work.
and just a question, have the selectmen made suggestions to the charter? I think you guys have too, right? And they haven't. What is the status of the charter?
We're still waiting for feedback from charter, but they have to go through all of council's
Council had
feedback.
A lot of feedback.
Yeah, feedback, so that's
I hesitate to completely pull it off because we haven't heard
right,
directly from
right.
charter
Right.
saying that they would like to delay, but so I'm comfortable leaving it on and just passing it over.
Yeah.
If that's
So you
the,
wanna place it, and then if we end up not, we'll just,
we would
No
just
action.
say no action on it at
No
town
action.
meeting.
Yeah.
so
And what-
motion,
oh, go ahead.
motion to place Article 24.
Second,
And then you have to make what you wanna do for action, right?
We're not gonna
just
make a
not doing
recommendation.
You're not even
We're just gonna
table
place it.
We're just gonna
We're
place
just
it.
gonna place it, so it's gonna be
Yeah.
okay.
No action on it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Paul?
That's an aye.
Second, I.
Vote aye.
Whitman, aye.
Ledger, aye.
And just quickly, I realize the board will change in a month, but would the board be willing to consider a special town meeting if it wasn't moved forward at this town meeting specifically to call a special town meeting specifically for charter? The other option would be to put it on the fall, depending on how that warrant is looking also, but I think.
I'd rather see how fall was looking and see if it makes sense
Yeah,
to
me
put it on
too,
the fall.
to spend the
agree.
money for another special election for something that a couple of months down the road or 6 months,
Yeah, it's not gonna change it.
yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, we can review what fall time, and if the warrant is extremely long.
You gotta see what's going on, right?
Yeah,
You gotta
yeah.
feel it out.
Yeah,
Time
I just
for-
didn't want, I
More
mean,
time for information sessions.
Yeah.
It's worth considering though.
yeah. Alright, so that takes us to the end of the warrant.
Finance Committee recommendation on Article 24.
No action at this time.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay,
Is there any other business to come before the select board? Second? Any discussion?
Second.
Paul?
Matt's and I.
Second, I.
Ledger, I. You're adjourned at 9:15.
okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Just so everybody knows, the reason I'm wearing this hat is my grandson got into.
Absent.
Very
You got lucky there, kid. I saw you look. That would've been really bad recording.
I know.
Good night, everyone.
Is that a bear?
Yep. Bear, the other one.
Puppies in your house?
Outside Mark's.
Oh, wow.
Is it a huge one again? The Brian Ford
With the
just
little
had
one,
him.
with the little one.
We took,
Oh.
our neighborhood
Was it
took all
the
the
one with
feeders
3?
down.
Brian Ford just had him rip through his chicken coop and eat 4 chickens out of his pen.
Yeah.
And it was
I'm like, it has to be something good for her to send me
not
something.
like a baby.
It needed
didn't
the
have
4
big-
chickens, huh?
It needed all 4. It was huge.
Wow.
Oh, they're up.
It wasn't, and it did not have a cub with it.
This one is
What,
walking
the
right,
bear?
right.
Well, I keep getting a ring alert. Bears, bears, big bears. Jeez.
It was, the one on, Brian lives down on,
We scheduled for next week?
Kenwood Drive from from Maple Ave side, and it was
It's on my
monstrous.
calendar, but I think it
In,
is,
in
I think
10
because we
years,
said
the bear
every
population's
Thursday
gonna double.
from now until the end.
Double.
Are we on the calendar for next week?
Okay.
We can be next Thursday.
Yes, please.
I'll see you Monday night.
Because we wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Good night, everybody.
I'll
night.
make a,
Good night.
request to
I
put
would
us on the
say
calendar.
put us on every Thursday at this point, I would say, and if we
Yeah,
need to cancel, we
that's
can
what we
cancel.
said.
And then
Yeah.
It-
but
we
it
have to
doesn't
come up
happen.
with topics of discussion too.
So I wrote
Did you
down
get the
4
email I sent you
things.
too?
Yeah, which one?
4 things.
I was just gonna say, we
What we want on all
said
the-
last time,
We said we were gonna meet every Thursday, yes.
All the agendas going forward.
Can we get together and put them all on one? Cause I think we just had some more new agendas we want, right?
Yeah, some specific things, so.
I was just gonna say that,
Want me to send
we
them to you,
should
Lynn,
be
and then you
meeting,
can
but we
send-
should
I
have
can.
stuff on the
Resend,
agenda,
and
each
Right.
meeting, whether we talk
We
about
don't
it or
disagree,
not.
but I don't know.
So if we can talk about it, cause we had several things we wanted to review.
No, that's fine.
Would you have sent that
We
one?
don't wanna split any hairs, but
But we need, this is still on, so.
we may have to.
Be careful.
We may have
You
to
send
with a
me,
hatchet.
could you send me an email with
You want me to send it to you? Okay.
of
When you sent the email.
the previous things
Oh,
and then
okay.
whatever the new ones are?
I'm gonna send them to Lynn and then Lynn can, cause Lynn
Right,
has
perfect,
that list,
perfect.
so I'll send mine to
All
her.
right.
It was Monday.
She can send it to yours.
I think I sent it Monday.
Resend it. Let me see. Alright.
Which would have been the 7th, right?
6th.
Yes, agenda items, so we just need the additional ones.
Okay.
Whatever we came up with tonight, we'll be good.
I will.
You have bylaw, charter, all warrant articles and budget. So we have a couple other things, I think that are all related to budget, but let's cover our bases.
Yep,
We just
Perfect.
wanted to
well,
cover
if,
it,
at least, so we don't forget what they were that we wanted
Yes.
to talk about.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And the budget covers school stuff, right? I mean,
Budget-
that's part of the budget.
That's part of the
so
budget.
It is?
I don't wanna,
I don't think it is.
I don't want to,
Oh, boy.
Try that again there, Tracy Perkins, I promise you, I'll slap you from here to Timbuktu.
I'm
I know
actually
you
feeling
would.
good, if I could get the rest of this crap that's somewhere in my, I'd be feeling good, it's just like, it's coming. You heard me laughing, it got caught somewhere. Wow, that was a contentious meeting.
was a long meeting.
I don't know how are we still recorded? Is this,
Yeah,
I don't
think so.